Square Garden has seen its fair share of bouts on the canvas on the ice. No undercard tonight. Rempe and McDermott, the main event to open the hockey game.
Both sides. Lazar went the other side as well.
Jimmy Vesey and Lazar, Gaudreau has dropped him with Kevin Ball as well. Now it's 5-on-5. McDermott and Rempe exchanging blows. But everybody has gloves off at the Garden.
Oh my God, an old-fashioned brawl at the Garden. Here we go. Oh my goodness. How's everybody doing? Welcome to the Pete Sheppard Show here live from the Naples Well Plating Studio. This indeed is the Riptide Media Network. Good morning, everybody. Huge show I got for you today. We're going to fight our way through it, right? Just like the Devils and the Rangers did it last night at the Garden. Yes! That was something last night, something to see last night at Madison Square Garden. Opening face-off. I haven't seen anything like that in a long time. I remember my Bruins and the Minnesota North Stars back in the day. Bobby Smith and company. I think it was 1980. There's like, I don't know, close to 200 penalty minutes in this one. But last night, we'll tell you all about what happened at the Garden. 2 seconds in, really less than that. It was sort of pre-planned. You knew it was coming with Matt Rempe, who that's all he can do was fight for the Rangers. And this took place last night after an incident that happened back on March 11th. Good morning, everybody. It is the Pete Sheppard Show right here live from the Naples Well Plating Studio on the Riptide Media Network. You can text me at 727-858-6650, 727-858-6650, or you can call the show at 781-418-0142. Check the show out as well on Twitter. Follow me at pshep326. Also on my Facebook page. Finally got my Facebook page up and running, but also it's on Broad Street South's Facebook page and the YouTube pages as well. The Pete Sheppard Show, 7 to 10 a.m., Monday through Friday. Guests lined up today for you. Patrick Gilroy, great NBA insider. He comes your way at 8:30. The lovely and talented, as she calls herself, half Gaelic, half garlic, Mia O'Brien, my Irish Sicilian friend, coming your way from 1010XL. Talking about the NFL, a huge trade yesterday with the Buffalo Bills. And we'll get her thoughts on that. And also, she'll get a show on, too, up in her area in Jacksonville called Helmets and Heels, which is quite funny. Her and two other young ladies who do a great job. And DeAndre Lou. So it's the old ladies hour here on the Pete Sheppard Show from 9 to 10 today. DeAndre Lou covers the NHLs and the Tampa Bay Lightning for a variety of networks. So we'll have her on for her weekly visit as well. Angel Martinez is going to join me a little bit later on, too. The new official play-by-play voice, Spanish play-by-play voice for the Orlando Predators. So we'll talk with Angel again, and want to welcome everybody to the Pete Sheppard Show, and welcome those of you watching on all the video streaming. If you're wondering about the app, don't worry about it. There are things in the process going on. I'll just say this once and just get it out of the way. So most of us. We have formed Riptide Media Network, and we're all going to be part of it. Myself, Angel Martinez, AJ Johnson, Dave Benz, Jim Cosmore, Matt Poehler. We're all going to be part of this. We've just had a parting of the ways with TBSN. That's all I'm going to say about it, and wish them well in their future endeavors. And we are going to do some great things here as well. President Brian Bruno of Naples Wealth Planning, as I broadcast live from the Naples Wealth Planning Studio. He has been amazing, as is his partner, Rick Calhoun. So just want to get that stuff out of the way. Wish everybody well. And we're moving on to bigger and better things here, not only on the Pete Sheppard Show, but for everybody on the Riptide Media Network. We're going to have a lot of programming here. There's going to be a new app. There's going to be a new webpage. It's probably going to be up by, if not by tomorrow, it'll be up by Monday at the latest. So I'll have some major announcements. I know that there's going to be a major press announcement made by Naples Wealth Planning President Brian Bruno and Rick Calhoun, and we'll explain and where all the shows are going to be. Basically, I'm staying here on Morning Drive, but we'll let you know where everybody is. Jeff DeForest, Defo is going to be involved, obviously Angel, and everybody else I just mentioned. So that's where we are today. Meanwhile, unbelievable what happened last night. And also, obviously, we're going to get into the NFL. Big trade yesterday. C.J. Stroud doing backflips for his team, what it looks like now on offense. UConn, the Huskies men's basketball team, had an issue with their plane, and they didn't land in Phoenix till a couple hours ago. We'll tell you about that. We'll have an all-NBA, NHL recap. Celtics clinch the best record and home record throughout the NBA playoffs after kicking the crap out of Oklahoma City last night. Granted, a couple of their better players weren't there. It wouldn't have mattered. Trust me. Wouldn't have mattered. And we'll get into the NBA a lot more with Patrick Gilroy coming up. He's my first guest at 8:30. Big trade in the NFL yesterday. The Buffalo Bills traded four-time Pro Bowler Stephon Diggs to the Houston Texans for a 2025 second-round pick via Minnesota, a 2024 sixth-round pick, and number 189 overall, and a 2025 fifth-round pick. Boy, oh boy, something had to be going on behind the scenes there. So, with Stephon Diggs. Good luck, Josh Allen. Good luck, all my Buffalo Bills fans that are out there. And by the way, you can text on the video platform because there's no text line phone number anymore except for there is. It's 727-858-6650. Angel Martinez has set that up temporarily here on the Pete Sheppard Show. So that's how you can text me. And if any comments you make on any of the social media outlets that I'm on, like I said, Facebook or YouTube or Twitter, absolutely. It'll pop up over here. And if it doesn't pop up over here, probably Angel will see it somewhere along the way. Angel's unbelievable, who just gets, he's up and at 'em every morning and making sure that everything is running smoothly, even though he really doesn't have to do that officially yet. But he's unbelievable. All right, let's get into what happened last night, the trade with the Buffalo Bills. And I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear from my Bills fans out there, Art and company. Where are you? How do you feel about your Buffalo Bills right now? What is going on in Buffalo? The window seems to be closing. I got a couple of cuts I'm going to play right now for people who reacted to it. Charles Davis and Bucky Brooks give their potential Bills wide receiver targets with their top picks. This is from NFL Network. Oh, that's on me. My bad. Hold on. There we go.
Are going to go now. Look, we know it's all about, best player available, but sometimes there is a need that maybe influences that best player. If it is a wide receiver, is there one that makes sense there at number 28, Charles Davis?
Well, Rhett and Bucky and Cynthia, look, wide receiver was on the table even before this trade. That was no secret that the Bills were looking for someone, but at that time it was someone to complement Stephon Diggs. Now we're talking about someone to take over and be wide receiver one. So in my latest mock draft, I gave him Brian Thomas Jr. out of LSU. In my previous mock draft, it had been A.D. Mitchell out of Texas. So wide receiver was already on my mind, and I think it's on everyone's mind anyway. But the interesting part is going to be how the wide receivers come off the board, guys. Because if a big run on receivers happens early, and you're not going to get a receiver that you believe has the capability of being wide receiver one for you if you're Buffalo, I would think very hard about bypassing at 28 and maybe looking in the secondary and adding to the cornerback room. A Kool-Aid McKinstry might be available at that point. Go get him. And Rhett, you showed the board with all the picks that they have coming up. Rap Sheet actually talked about it a little bit. You can sprinkle multiple receivers in your draft. Sure. You've got multiple picks in 3 different rounds. That could be the way to go for Buffalo. Don't just reach if you're not going to get someone that you think is going to take over and be your number one receiver.
I think that's a really fair point and a gosh darn professional segue by you, Charles Davis. So let's look at that next opportunity for the Buffalo Bills. If they do bypass the wide receiver spot at 28, we'll see them on the board again as it currently stands at the 60th overall pick there, bottom of the second round. some names that may make sense in that range.
So I'm going to say Sean McDermott takes a page from his mentor, Andy Reid, and says, hey, I'm going to entrust my quarterback to be able to elevate everyone around him. So how about a receiver from Western Kentucky, Malachi Corley, to come in and be that slot receiver that can consistently get open? Yes, you brought in a cast of veteran players. You have Curtis Samuel and Mac Hollins and some of these other guys, but you need someone who can be a chain mover. When I look at Malachi Corley at Western Kentucky, this guy had 259 career receptions. He had 29 touchdowns. He is able to put the ball in the paint consistently. I want to surround Josh Allen with a bunch of guys that can just make plays in different roles and put it on the quarterback to elevate the play of everyone around him, as opposed to depending on a dependable and reliable number one. I think it's going to have to be a group effort in Buffalo going forward.
Yeah, think about maybe a couple other names. Maybe Jermaine Burton from Alabama is on the board there. Maybe Ricky Pearsall from Florida with his supreme athleticism there. Feel like Roman Wilson probably gone, but we'll keep.
All right, thanks to the NFL Network for that. Any reaction? I'll tell you what, if our friends in Houston, my God, C.J. Stroud doing backflips, cartwheels, making Simone Biles jealous of what he's doing today. Joe Mixon, they got Joe Mixon. Remember, they got Nico Collins, Tank Dell, Dalton Schultz. That's a formidable offense. I mean, they were good last year. I mean, they beat the crap out of Cleveland in the playoffs. I mean, this is a really, really good football team. And the Houston Texans have really done something great here. And then you get Stephon Diggs, who clearly was unhappy with what was going on in Buffalo. Unbelievable. So, Bills general manager Brandon Beane said yesterday, I want to thank Steph for 4 really good seasons. Really appreciate everything he brought to the team. Was a big part of us winning 4 divisions. These moves are never easy, very hard, not made overnight or anything like that. But anytime you make a move like this, you're trying to win. And sometimes people may not see that. I don't know, Mr. Bean, that you are going to have the full confidence of the Bills Mafia there. They're not jumping off. They're not jumping onto tables today. Some of them are jumping off bridges, and I say that tongue in cheek, obviously. But that's the thing. There'll be no more table jumping in Buffalo until we get a wide receiver. I mean, when you look at the depth chart right now for the Buffalo Bills, I just happen to have it right here. You're looking at let's see. Curtis Samuel, Khalil Shakir, Justin Shorter, Mac Hollins. Sound good to you? How about Dalton Kincaid? I like Dawson Knox. You got 2 really good tight ends, so you can do something with that. I think a double tight end formation now in the NFL is you got 2 reliable tight ends. One is really good. You got 2. That is absolutely that's outstanding. So, but you look at the Texans on offense with C.J. Stroud, Joe Mixon, Nico Collins, Tank Dell, and Dalton Schultz. And a pretty good defense as well. Daniel Hunter, they got him, unrestricted free agent from Minnesota as a pass rusher. Danico Autry from Indianapolis, they got him. This is a really, really good football team. And DeMeco Ryans is you can already tell, is just going to be one of the great coaches out there. Nick Casario's done a great job with this team, building it. And Bobby Slowick, the OC, he's going to have, oh my God. I mean, he's going to have a field day. Matt Burke, defensive coordinator. This is a really solid football team. The answer, Mr. President Brian Bruno, to your question that you just gave me is no, I don't. I would text Angel. He might be able to help you. Anyway, some inside the behind-the-scenes stuff here. It's awesome here being on the Riptide Media Network. Actually, I have been told I am executive vice president of this network. I will not refer to myself as that, but it's nice that my partner, Brian Bruno, the brains behind the operation, and his partner, Rick Calhoun, those are the 2 that are the big brains behind the operation. I just sit here and look stupid and silly. And I've been told, I don't know, my chest nipples have been showing. I'm trying to, it's a family show, I think. I don't know. I mean, I'm all about having a family show, if that's what you want. The phone number to text is 727-858-6650. You see it right up there, and you can, any one of your comments that come over the video platform, I'll be able to read as well. So feel free. Feel free. I actually want to check just to make sure on my Facebook page that if stuff is coming over, that I am able to see it, because I know there are I have a lot of Buffalo Bills fans out there, and they can't be happy today. I'm sure they're not happy today. I don't think you can be. I don't think if you're a Bills fan, you're very happy with Mr. Bean at all. So okay, everything going well, everything's going smooth, and we're good to go. We're good to go. All right, to the NHL. My goodness, last night at the opening face-off at Madison Square Garden, we were. Well, actually, you know what? Before that, I get all confused. Before that, I want to go back to the trade, because here's what earlier yesterday when this went down on ESPN with Stephen A. and Matt. This was on First Take yesterday when the trade went down. Here's the panel talking about it.
Analyzing a trade to send four-time Pro Bowl wide receiver Stephon Diggs to the Houston Texans for draft pick compensation. Sources tell ESPN. We were just talking, obviously, about Stephon Diggs moments ago. Louis Riddick, your response.
The Texans are not playing around. Like, this is between what they have done in free agency. Look on the defensive side of the football with the additions of guys like Danico Autry, Azeez Al-Shire. And then on offense, now they get Joe Mixon at running back. They re-signed Dalton Schultz. They already have Tank Dell. They already have Nico Collins. They already have Noah Brown. And then you add him into the mix here, along with CJ, who has already taken over this organization as the unquestioned, bona fide alpha, along with D'Amico kind of like overseeing this entire thing and drawing out of these guys the kind of performance, camaraderie, leadership, accountability that he's drawn out of them. Look, you have to tip your cap right now to Nick Caserio in terms of what he is getting done down there. He has catapulted them, I believe, now to the very top of the South, and they are firmly in the mix now to be able to deal with teams like Baltimore, deal with teams like Kansas City on a toe-to-toe type basis. Now, I know those are huge leaps considering how Baltimore dominated them last year in the playoffs, but this is how you make those steps. You go out and get these difference makers. Look, C.J. Stroud is going to be a top 3-4 quarterback this year. He'll be in that mix where you're going to be sitting there going, okay, well, where does he stack up with Josh? Where does he stack up with Joe Burrow? Where does he stack up with Lamar and all? He's going to be right in there now. He's going to be right in there. And as a team, what they are doing on both sides of the football and who they have at the helm right now in D'Amico, who was going to quickly solidify his place as a top 4 or 5 coach in the NFL, this organization, it is going straight up. It is going parabolic what they're getting done down there, especially this offseason. And it all started last year when, quite honestly, CJ fell to them and fell right in their lap. And it was the best thing that ever happened to him.
And those of you who might not know what he is talking about there, that game, there was a game last year with the Colts, and it came down to if Indy had made a stop, they would have got the pick. If Houston, but Houston ended up scoring a touchdown late in the game, like with, I think, on like 4 or 5 seconds to go. And because of that, they got the pick. And it was a crazy, crazy thing last year with them. The Bills will carry a dead money charge of $31.096 million next season after trading Diggs. That will be the highest known dead money charge ever for a wide receiver in any season. How about that? Write that down. Brandon Bean, the GM of the Bills, says the timing is the value that you're being offered for the player versus what you think is fair. And you're always looking not only at this year, but you're always looking in future years as well. I think we all know what we walked into this year, this league year, with the salary cap and where we were. And while, yes, we'll eat a little bit this year, it frees over $27 million of our cap and gives us more flexibility in the future. Last year, remember, Diggs was excused from the first day of the team mandatory minicamp by Coach Sean McDermott, who said he thought the matter with his star receiver was, quote, resolved, unquote. That clarification came a day after he had said that he was very concerned about Diggs' absence. So there was clearly something going on behind the scenes. So the trade of Diggs There's the Bills depth chart, as I said a little earlier. They got free agent additions, Curtis Samuel from the Washington Commanders. They got Mac Hollins from the Atlanta Falcons. Khalil Shakir had 39 catches and 611 yards and 2 touchdowns for Buffalo last season. Bean also said yesterday that the team's roster is, oh God, I hate this term, is a work in progress. Oh God, that is not what you want to hear as a Buffalo Bills fan. You want to compete for a Super Bowl. Now it's a work in progress. That sounds like the Patriots roster. Patriots roster may be a work in progress. If they ever get a quarterback, if May comes in and does what he might be capable of doing, who knows? Assuming they draft him. Who knows? Because they've gotten better. We know what their defense is. They're a really good defense, and they've improved, I think somewhat on offense, and what remains to be seen. But if you're a Buffalo Bills fan, you don't want to hear your team's a work in progress. And here's the kicker. Brandon Bean asks the question. He answers, are we better today? Probably not. It's a work in progress. We're going to continue to work on that. I would just hope that people know I'm competitive as hell and I ain't giving in. We'll be ready to roll when it comes time in September. What? This is a team that's been by many thought to be a Super Bowl contender for the last, 4 years at least. And wow, that's unbelievable to me. That he would say, are we better today? Probably not. Don't say that. Do not say that. Don't say that. Bills Mafia is going to storm the building. Good God. So, by the way, upon the news of trade, ESPN Bet, which you don't have down here, but I'm sure the Hard Rock was very simple. Here in Florida, wherever you are around the country, around the world, and I know you're getting ready for that shitty weather up north again in the Northeast and in the Midwest. Good God. They're talking about 1 to 2 feet of snow in parts of northern New England. I know people are listening in Nashua, New Hampshire. Please be careful. They've already told you to stay off the roads. A lot of my friends in New England, stay inside. Bread, water, milk, panic. Absolute panic. So ESPN Bet moved the Texans from plus 140 to plus 115 to win the AFC South, from 11 to 1 to plus 750 to win the AFC, and they just went from 22 to 1 to 18 to 1 to win the Super Bowl. That is a great value bet. I would be all over that right now. Meanwhile, the Bills moved from plus 135 to plus 160 to win the AFC East, and from plus 600 to plus 750 to win the AFC, and went from 12 to 1 to 13 to 1 to win the Super Bowl. Oh, and by the way, Stephon Diggs will face his old team this coming season as the Texans will host the Bills at NRG Stadium. The date of the game won't be known until the 2024 schedule is released, probably in the middle of May. That is really something. That is that's amazing. The layers of that onion that is the Buffalo Bills and the trade with the Houston Texans. That is something to ponder, no question. I'd love to hear your thoughts. 727-858-6650. 727-858-6650. Meanwhile, at Madison Square Garden last night, it took about 2 seconds for this to begin.
Square Garden has seen its fair share of bouts on the canvas on the ice. No undercard tonight. Rempe and McDermott, the main event to open the hockey game.
Both sides. Lazar went the other side as well.
Jimmy Vesey and Lazar. Gaudreau has dropped them with Kevin Ball as well. Now it's 5-on-5. McDermott and Rempe exchanging blows. But everybody has gloves off at the Garden. DeAndre Miller and John Marino. There's only 4 officials. There's 5 fights. They're trying to break up what they can. Meanwhile, Rempe and McDermott still throwing them. DeAndre Miller got the better of John Marino down on the other end. As McDermott still feeding rights to Rempe. The other 4 are all done. The main event's still going.
This is unbelievable. Holy jumping, what a start to this one right here. But McDermott's got it. He had a couple of uppercuts.
This is a marathon between Rempe and McDermott.
Well, they're going to be out of gas. Completely out of gas. Completely out of gas. Holy jump.
Thanks to TNT with the call last night. I'm pissed at myself. I didn't see it live. It was on TNT. I was watching the Celtics in Oklahoma City. And when I switched over a couple of times, it was well after the first 10 seconds. I really didn't catch it until I saw it on Twitter, probably about an hour after it happened. But the Rangers and Devils went at it at the Garden in New York last night. A brawl involving all 10 skaters on the ice for the opening faceoff. The goalies, by the way, did not get involved. A lot of times you see the goalies get involved. So the main event, as you heard, Rangers forward Matt Rempe taking on New Jersey's Curtis McDermott. The two have a big history going back to Madison Square Garden that game on March 11th. Rempe refused McDermott's offer to fight early on, and later in the contest, Rempe, remember that really horrible illegal elbow, high elbow that could have really hurt Jonas Singlether, knocked him out of the game. Subsequently, he got a 4-game suspension for that. So Rempe and McDermott, as you just heard, had the biggest, longest fight. Their little brawl continued at center ice after the other 4 fights had ended. 8 players, 4 from each team, received game misconduct. Two seconds into the matchup, they were ejected. Let's see. It was great to see the team responding to the way and having each other's backs out there, said McDermott, who hadn't played the prior 4 games for New Jersey. Quote, I have a lot of respect for him, Rempe. He's a young kid trying to do this thing. I understand that. Along with Rempe, New York defenseman Jacob Trouba and K'Andre Miller, forward Barclay Goodrow were ejected. New Jersey defenseman Kevin Ball and John Marino and forwards Chris Tierney and McDermott also ejected. And Igor Shesterkin, who's a great goalie for the New York Rangers, and Devils counterpart Capo Kekkonen, they did not participate in the fight. That was a miracle in itself. Absolutely was a miracle in itself. So, all right, we're going to take our quick break. You'll be hearing for a little while longer. You'll be hearing me going into breaks with music, so fear not. I'll be back in 3 or 4 minutes. There is no question about it. And here on the Pete Sheppard Show, right here on the Riptide Media Network. So quick break. And when we come back, I'm going to bring Angel Martinez into the conversation, and we'll get his thoughts on this NFL trade, what happened last night at the Garden, and a whole bunch of other good stuff. I'll have an NBA and NHL recap as well, besides the big brawl that happened at the Garden. Oh, and by the way, the Rangers came back and won the game 4-3. Oh, all right. So we'll get into all of that. Big show lined up today. Patrick Gilroy, NBA Insider at 8:30. We got Mia O'Brien, 1010XL from the Heels and Helmet Show coming up, talking NFL with her. She's always amazing to listen to, as is Deandra Lou, who will talk about the Tampa Bay Lightning and the NHL as well. All part of the Pete Sheppard Show here live from the Naples Wealth Planning Studio on the Riptide. We've been playing in the past, but this is a new network, Riptide Media Network. And yours truly, Pete Sheppard, here from 7 to 10, Monday through Friday, forever here, broadcasting live at the Naples Wealth Planning Studio here in beautiful North Naples in Southwest Florida. Also want to tell you about Total Sports Prep, all the stuff I have access to. These guys are unbelievable. Dave and Dusty, amazing stuff. So for the best articles and audio, only one source that provides everything you need 365 days a year to satisfy your sports crave. And it is indeed Total Sports Prep. Total Sports Prep. The staff combs through the best articles and audio so you don't have to. Sports and non-sports kicker stories leave you laughing all day long. To get your free trial of Total Sports Prep, contact them at info@sportsbroadcastingcoach.com. That's info@sportsbroadcastingcoach.com. Total Sports Prep, the name says it all. Let's welcome in Angel Martinez this morning, shall we? Angel, from the lovely Tampa, where it is not snowing like it is in New England and the Midwest, where they are getting blitzed and blizzard and icky rain, freezing rain, and snow, that 4-letter word today. How you doing this morning, my man?
I am doing fantastic, Pete. I'm pretty sure my sister's sucking wind up there in Springfield because unfortunately she's still up there, and so is my mom until she finally moves down to Fort Myers. But yeah, man, what a mess! They go. It was a roller coaster of temperatures up there in New England this season, but we all know April is the new December up there in New England, so they should
keep saying it. Now. I keep saying it. April is indeed the absolute new December. I send pictures to my brother-in-law and sister Andrea up there all the time, and she gives me the bird back and all that stuff. I'm like, you're a nurse. You can't be giving me the bird. What if I get sick? You have to take care of me. Anyway. but it is. Do you send do you take a picture on the weather app and like send the temperatures from down here sometimes just to be even more cruel?
Oh yeah, I do. My friends in Philly all the time. Every single time, like, "Hey, anything else you'd like to share with us?" Like, no, not really. Just the temperatures. We're good.
Oh man, let's see. People are saying you're low. Is there any way you could turn up your pot on your end, Angel? Because I got you up all the way over here.
I can give it a little bit of more juice on my end here without going into red.
Yeah, that's from obviously that's just from the video. But I appreciate you put up a link there as well on my Facebook page for a different life365.com at radio sports radio 102.9 FM. That's you, the game. So if you want to, if you need to be in the car and listen on the app, there it is on my Facebook page. Just copy the link.
Yep,
good stuff.
Copy it, download it, and you guys will be good to go because it is. I guess so now officially it is the Sports Radio / Naples Wealth Planning Tampa Division Studios here in Tampa, Florida.
Oh, that's okay. That's where your studio is.
Yes. Just created a whole different division down here. We just fine with Brian Bruneau.
Yeah, President Brian Bruneau and his 1A, his partner, Rick Calhoun, right there with it. So the text number, as you put up, 727-858-6650, or you can call into the show if you'd like at 781-418-0142. And there's still a tiny little quirk in the phone system, but it's pretty much the guests sound great, which is fine. And that's really all I care about. But a lot of people like to text in, and you can text in all through the video platforms as well.
Yep.
Between YouTube and Facebook, on my pages, on Broad Street South pages, and on the YouTube channel there as well. So if you want to text in or send me a message on my Facebook page or Angel's Facebook page, it will pop up right in front of me as I've done some shuffling around here with screens, Angel. You'd be very proud of me.
No, that's good. Listen, you'll get the hang of it. Before you know it, you'll be.
I got the hang of it. I mean, I'm doing this job of 3 people from about 6 months now, so I got the hang of it, and I'm happy to do it. This is great. But now that you're here, and you're basically, besides doing a show, you're sort of like the big executive producer here. Everybody, because you know everything about this stuff. It's unbelievable how good you are at it. So we got a lot of big plans, which we're going to share with you the next couple of days or early next week with the new app, new webpage, and a whole slew of scheduled shows that are going to knock your socks off. It's going to be great. You're going to love it. You're going to absolutely love it. So this trade, Angel, my Buffalo Bills fans out there, I'm waiting to hear from them. I think they're in hiding. Before I get to that, I do want to say about the UConn men's basketball team. Then we'll talk about the NFL, what happened yesterday. The UConn Huskies took off from Bradley near Hartford at about 1:30 this morning. UConn's flight was originally scheduled to leave about 6 p.m. Wednesday, but the departure was pushed to about 11:30 because of mechanical issues, not even because of the weather. Mechanical issues. That's according to the NCAA. And Coach Dan Hurley took to social media around 1 a.m. to say the plane had not taken off yet. And following the nearly 5-hour flight in a smaller Allegiant airplane, oh, God.
Oh, boy.
I've been on Allegiant out here in Punta Gorda, and I've done it a couple of times. The team arrived at Sky Harbor International Airport in Phoenix, 3:15 a.m. local time.
Good God almighty.
Mechanical issues led to crew staffing issues, according to Pete Thamel of ESPN. The mechanical issues made it difficult to secure a plane large enough to accommodate the team's travel party. And you got to remember the equipment, too.
Right.
Not that it's like an NFL team, but still, the team had expected to break up its party to bring to the Final Four on later flights, with players and coaches taking priority to arrive first. The NCAA said in a statement that it worked with UConn and charter airlines to develop several alternatives. NCAA said, "We are very disappointed that UConn will arrive later than anticipated, and it's unfortunate the team's travel experience has been impacted." Well, so along with NC State, Purdue, and Alabama, UConn getting ready to have media availability, practice, and other obligations in Glendale, Arizona today. The NCAA expected to explore a modification of UConn's schedule to factor in the team's late arrival. CBS Sports, by the way, had it for now. Alabama and Purdue arrived in Arizona Tuesday night, and NC State got there yesterday afternoon. So that is going to be they're going to be exhausted. Go ahead, Angel.
Here's a couple things. Number one is how you knew the weather, what the impact of the weather. They knew about it since Monday. So why didn't you make arrangements to try and get those guys and girls out there at least maybe a day beforehand? I know, coaches, especially Coach Hurley, he likes routine. Every coach likes routine. But you should have been able to change it to accommodate it to at least make it a little bit better, or at least get them halfway to Texas, wait until some of the storms are over, and then pick up and take off again. We were a lot closer.
But again, this was a mechanical issue, though. This had nothing to do with the weather, apparently. It was a mechanical issue that happened yesterday. So they were supposed to leave at 6 o'clock last night, 4-hour flight, so 4.5-hour flight about. So they would have got 10:30 Eastern time, 8:30. They were supposed to arrive at 8:30 p.m. Phoenix time. Instead, because of the mechanical issues, they didn't land. They didn't land until 3:15 a.m. local time. They didn't take off until 1 a.m. So that was a problem. It was mechanical issues, and the plane had to be. I'm sure there was stuff that happened where the plane had to be de-iced. Also, I'm sure that was part of it.
Yeah,
I have no doubt that something like that. But they say the main problem was mechanical issue. But at least they arrived safely.
Yeah, well, speaking of planes, here's two more for you. Over the weekend, apparently on Saturday, I won't even name the airline because it's now the second time in less than a month where as they're backing the aircraft off and making the tail swing around so they can get on the runway, they clipped another airplane. So that was their second time. And then on Sunday...
That happened. The first one happened in Logan.
Yeah.
In Boston.
On Sunday, there was a flight, and I believe they were leaving from New York. It was such bad turbulence that they had to land. They had to make an emergency landing in New Jersey, and 200 people on the plane, including the crew, had to be seen by medical officials.
Wow. Unbelievable. Yeah. Mike says, good morning, fellas. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday to you, Mike. Thanks for checking us out. Before we get to some other stuff and your thoughts, I want to stay on Dan Hurley as long as here because he was on the Pat McAfee show yesterday. And he had some interesting things to say. It was a good interview with Pat, as things as usually are. So he opened up again with his struggles with depression.
Yeah.
You probably kept a lot of stuff pent up. I would assume that's the type of guy you were.
Yeah, I was in a deep depression, man. I was locked in my dorm room. I played a game at St. John's. We played a doubleheader at MSG. My brother played the Knicks that same day, and we played St. John's. I think I went 1 for 12 from the field. I got off to a horrific start to my season, and I went and I quit. I went and met my brother that night, late night. I'm not going to tell you where in the city, but we might have had a couple of beers and talked about. And I kind of asked him permission to step away from basketball at that point. Because it was just eating me up to struggle so much, and I was in such a bad place. So I basically locked myself in my dorm room for a couple of days and refused to leave. There weren't cell phones back then, so people were just knocking, slamming on my door, trying to find me, and I just holed up. And the first person I really talked to coming out of that room was Sister Catherine.
Really interesting. He went on, Angel, more to say. Here's Coach Dan Hurley of UConn on working with a sports psychologist. Nature.
Yeah, I mean, Sister Catherine, you're going to get to me on that one, man. Well, first of all, she introduced me to books. I didn't know about books. I didn't know that you could just read books, elect to read them on your own. I didn't know about that.
You got to be assigned the book, right? You got to be. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. I go to just for school. Actually, there were bookmobiles back in the day that used to drive around Jersey City, and I never went on it. But I mean, your men especially, man. It's like we deal with a lot of stuff, just emotionally, mentally, and there's a macho attitude where we can't show that vulnerability and open up and talk about, our fears or the things that are bothering us or, relationship issues or what have you. And, for me at that time at Seton Hall, your dad's a Hall of Fame coach. Your older brother is the face of college basketball at Duke and eventually going to be a lottery pick, number 7 and 2-time national champ. And and you're just kind of like mid in the Big East a little bit and struggling. So, yeah, I mean, I sought her out as a counselor at Seton Hall, and we developed a bond and a relationship over my time that has lasted to today, where we still see each other, communicate. But I was doing intense therapy with her. She introduced me to a book that had a big impact, The Winner Within, by Pat Riley, and got me to talk about a lot of stuff that was bothering me. And she helped me get a little bit of stability in my life, my spirituality, my faith in God, relationships and friendships, had to be quality. Obviously, my physical condition and in my emotional health. So, she kind of helped me balance out the table so that I could start progressing to get towards my best self.
Yeah, Dan Hurley. And one more cut, Angel, then we'll get your reaction to it. Dan Hurley on trying to win it all again.
Last year, we were clearly the kings of college basketball, and what do kings do? They reign, and our goal was to do it again. So, like, reign and repeat. That was our mindset since the summer.
Okay, reign and repeat isn't necessarily easy, because once you're sleeping on satin sheets, it's not as easy to wake up and get to work in the morning. How have you kept the boys motivated all year, and how have you kept the team so dominant, you think?
Yeah, I think there's kind of like two things that have got to be aligned, right? Like what you want and how you work, and our work level and like our work rate and how we prepare and the time commitment, it exceeds what we want. And we, we're feel like we're the hardest working, program in the country. And then you combine that with like great people that have elite talent, and you could accomplish great things. We've battled and fought that human nature, stuff the whole year, and we've rooted out any complacency along the way with just the highest work rate possible.
All right, there it is, Dan Hurley, courtesy of the Pat McAfee show yesterday on ESPN. So a lot of people didn't understand that about Dan Hurley. A lot of people probably didn't know he was suffering while he was in college. I certainly, I hated his brother, not personally. I hated him because I hated Duke. And Bobby Hurley just had that look on his face that you wanted to smack.
Yeah,
just did when he played. He was this little rugrat that just like he always had this snotty ass looking where Dan didn't. And I'm not just saying because he played at Seton Hall and I was a Big East person, but that's something, Angel, about really and sister that helped him out. A big impact on his life, because who knows, and that's why people say that with mental disorders, and you just never know what people are going through. You really don't know.
I think what was more surprising to him, one of the co-hosts was one that had brought it up, and I don't think obviously Dan wasn't ready for it, because who would have thought they would have done the research enough to take and see like the small little things that you really don't hear about. And he opened up a lot with Pat and the rest of the crew, and they did a good job overall with the interview yesterday. It was a really good job, and he stayed out longer than he was supposed to have. And Pat must apologize like 3 or 4 times. Like, listen, I know you're certain, you're setting routines. I know you like to do certain things, and he talked about his dragon boxers because he wore it over some other ones. It was dragon boxers and something else. That one of the teams he ended up taking down, he's got like a set of boxers for the teams that he takes down, which I thought that was interesting as well. But no, I mean, listen, mental health, for a lot of folks, for the ones that don't fake it, the people that actually have those issues, it's tough because you don't know it. And I think we've mentioned it before on a previous show, was that sometimes saying that simple hello to somebody in the morning, you never know the difference that it makes, because that person feels for that moment, hey, someone cared enough at least to say hello to me in the morning.
No question. Great point. I'm trying. The underwear story is hysterical. I thought I had the cut for it from yesterday, and I'll try to find it, because his poor wife Andrea has made him. I mean, he wears the same shirt, the same underwear, and it's dragons versus wolves, I guess. So the dragons underwear is what he's wearing now, and he talked about. He said it's a little swampy.
Yeah,
it can be a little sweat, but he's wearing the same stuff over and over again, because that's what he's doing. Angel Martinez joining me here on the Pete Sheppard Show, live from the Naples Wealth Planning Studio on the Riptide Media Network. We'll have a big press announcement coming up too in the next couple of days. As long as we're sticking with college basketball here for a second, I wanted to let you hear yesterday on Speak Live. Angel Reese was the topic again. Now you remember how she was very emotional, and I understand. I get some of her pain. I understand what some of her pain she was going through. However, these guys on FS1 yesterday. Let me see the. Where is it? Where is it? Hang on. Stand by. I want to make sure I credit the right people. All right. Well, this was on FS1 yesterday on one of those shows, and on Speak Live. And here is Acho talking about one Angel Reese, and I think this says it all. This is thoughtful discourse.
I'm about to give a gender-neutral, racially indifferent take. Now, if you want to say, well, Acho, cater your take based upon gender, Acho, cater your take based upon race, I will understand that. But I'm about to give a gender-neutral, racially indifferent take. Angel Reese, you can't beat a big bad wolf, but then kind of cry like Courage the Cowardly Dog. Because if you want to act grown, which she has, if you want to get paid like you grown, which you are, if you want to talk to grown folks like you grown, which you did post-game when you told a coach for an opposing team, watch your mouth. If you want to tell people, get your money up, then post-game when you take a L, you just got to take it on the chin. Nobody mourns when the villain catches an L. And Angel Reese, you have self-proclaimed to be the villain. Shout out to you because you are the second best basketball player on the court, and it was not close. Outside of Caitlin Clark, it was you. 17 and 20, dog. Showed up, biggest game, second biggest game of your career. Absolute dog. But you can't, under any circumstance, go to the podium and now try to ask for individuals to give you sympathy. No one has sympathy for the villain. You painted the bullseye on your back. Why are you surprised when people shoot at you? So if you want to act grown, if you want to pose grown, if you want to talk grown, if you want to talk to grown folks grown, then you got to take the L like you grown. Because what frustrated me is when you want to be the villain, but you want to hope for sympathy like a hero.
Yeah, and that's a great point by him. And I brought it up yesterday, Angel. I mean, this sympathy crap, please, go talk to Christian Leitner, guys like that, guys who were, I mean, there are so many other, and he embraced it. I mean, that's the thing. But she's right. You can't be a hypocrite about it. You can't sit there, oh, woe is me. I'm being victimized. I'm doing this. I'm being this and doing that. Now, again, if it's over the top personal sexually, that's obviously way out of line. But the other stuff, the criticism, you can't go on after a loss and just, oh, God, everybody's coming after me. I couldn't enjoy my championship from last year. That is a load of horse crap. Absolutely is. So Acho had it, I think, dead on balls accurate there, Angel. Angel Reese, you got to take it on the chin, like you said. Just, block out the noise if you can.
Yeah, you do, because listen, and it's not going to get any easier in the WNBA. She should know this because a lot of WNBA athletes are getting criticized even more harsh because the popularity of the WNBA at how it's taken off. Obviously, with the Aces now, reigning back-to-back champions, they know they got a huge target on their back just because they're back-to-back champs, not because they've said anything off the court or on the court. But she wanted that spotlight. And at the end of last season, let's not forget, she wanted a bigger spotlight. It was all about her Instagram, about the clothing she was getting, this, that, and the other. And the season began with controversy. So even though you may have put out a nice, eloquent videotape for everyone, or, video for everyone to see, okay, that's great. But don't forget, this will now follow you to the WNBA. And not only that, college is one thing, but when you get to that WNBA level, you might get destroyed because there's a lot that she has to work on.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of smack talking that goes on in basketball, college and pro, both men and women. All right, Larry Bird might have seemed like the quietest guy in the planet. He was the biggest trash talker of all of them, or one of the best there was. He was unbelievable. He would just go up to you and say, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to fake left, go right, and then I'll shoot a three over you. And he didn't shoot a lot of three. People think if Larry Bird played today, my God, it'd be ridiculous. He averaged under 2 threes a game for the most part during his career in the regular season.
Let me ask you a quick question. Reggie Miller, do you like him more now as a broadcaster or more as the athlete on the court when he was in his prime?
Well, I like them both. I mean, I loved him for what he did to the Knicks, so I always cherish those moments. I mean, just with Spike Lee and everything else. I always liked Reggie. Look, I remember Cheryl. I mean, Cheryl was the first women's basketball player that caught everybody's attention.
Yeah.
And it's not like in the Northeast where we lived that USC was on a lot when she was there. But the women's games that were on, and there weren't a lot of them on back then, not till the NCAA tournament. And really not really until I think like the Sweet 16 Elite 8, you might have gotten them because ESPN was just getting started and they used to carry people forget the NCAA tournament, the whole thing used to be on ESPN, or a big part of it when it was only 40, before it went to 68 teams. And a lot of the games in local markets around the country were on tape delay. Because if it wasn't a feature game, it would be. I mean, CBS still had some of the games and all that stuff, but I'm talking about the first two rounds. The first two rounds, a lot of them were on tape delay back then, and you'd have ESPN would do wraparound coverage. So you'd be looking. I mean, they did a good job with it, but they'd be going, but like it's not like it is now. Where we have 4 networks. We have TBS, CBS, True TV, and TNT. It wasn't like that back then for the first two rounds. It was strictly ESPN, and they would do wraparound shows for the first. But I remember a couple of games, couple of teams I wanted to see, and they weren't on until tape delay later on in local markets, because either the local market didn't want to preempt their stupid soap opera or local news, thinking it'd be better ratings, so they would just tape delay the game an hour or two later.
Yeah. No, it's amazing how quickly we've and how far we've gotten. We used to before, so when as things became more modern, then what we would do as young adults, I guess back in the day, we would have the times where we would have the TV in the other room. So we had the old version where you would always hear things late. And so we would hear what went on in the other room and then react like post afterwards in the other. It was the goofiest thing, and we were nerds, so we didn't care. But, we did it for fun because that's the way it used to be. Everything used to be delayed, or you would find out what happened with your team via the newspaper the next morning.
Yep. All right, Angel, stay with me. Say, Angel, funny story. Actually, it was a great story. I did a charity event. I was invited to this charity event in a beautiful country club in Rhode Island. Got to play golf with Mike Reno. I call him Mike. And I can't remember the lead singer from Orleans, still the one. And also the lead singer from Survivor, who has since passed, and I forget his name also. And then all three put on a mini concert for about, a couple hundred of us afterwards at this beautiful hotel in Warwick, Rhode Island. It was a scene, man. It was a scene. Unbelievable. So funny. We had so much fun. I got on stage and sang, still though, I just got to do one line.
Nice.
You're still the, yeah. So I got to do one line. It was great.
Hey, do you remember?
But it was a blast.
The song you just played now, do you remember,
Turn Me Loose.
speaking of us, and this is what's great about as far as throwing back, when the line would come out, why don't you turn me loose? When they used to look at the 3 different camera angles, like, why don't you turn me loose? Turn me loose, and then you look over to the right. Man, those are great freaking videos.
Yeah, some of them. Unlike Journey. Journey has the worst video. Love Steve Perry, love Journey, love the videos. The Escape video is just awful. I mean, just awful. What do you call it? And he's like, no,
Yeah.
That is such a great out, such an awful video. The 2 favorite Journey songs I love the best are Send Her My Love. I think that blows faithfully away, with all due respect. Send Her My Love, when Steve Perry's singing live at Dodger Stadium in the rain, you get goosebumps. It's just amazing. And also, like I play all the time, not all the time, but I play Ask the Lonely, which is from the movie with Jamie Lee Curtis and John Travolta about him writing for Rolling Stone magazine, blah, blah, blah. And it was a great soundtrack. I think it's the most underrated song. It doesn't get enough radio play. I don't know why around the country that everybody wants to hear Faithfully or Don't Stop Believing like every 2 seconds. Right. I don't. I guess on terrestrial radio, it still moves the needle. I don't listen to terrestrial radio much anymore, but I guess it does. There are certain songs in Southwest Florida. I'm sure it's like up to you. It's one thing if you have an 80s themed terrestrial station. You know what you're getting. You know what you're getting. But when it's supposed to be contemporary hit music, and you hear, and you can talk to me about Bob FM, Mike FM, Douchebag FM. It doesn't really matter. You're going, it's the same. We play everything. No, you don't. You don't play everything.
Nope.
You think you do, but you still, even those stations that claim they play everything still have you still hear the same songs over and over again. Just, might take you a little longer, but it's crazy.
Well, you know what we need to do then? One show we're going to have to, one segment is bring out the best 80s video for at least like 15 minutes and just take a look and laugh and as stuff that we grew up with.
Well, I remember, obviously the first video was Video Kill the Radio Star. We all know that by the Buggles. But my first video that I saw, because my Aunt Camilla, God rest her soul, had cable before I got it. And she was in Cranston, Rhode Island. We were in Narragansett, Rhode Island, a little bit south of that. And it took us, for the cable to get to my area and about an extra, 3 months. And it sucked because I still only had ABC, CBS. Fox wasn't a network. It really wasn't. But I had Channel 25 in Boston, Channel 56 in Boston, Channel 38 in Boston. We were lucky because we had great outside antennas. So I was able to get some of the Boston stations. But even WBZ, and because you love on stream, Channel 4, 5, and 7, snow. The UHF stations would come in better than the VHF stations. So it was crazy.
I like half the people that are listening right now is, what are you talking about? What's UHF and VHF?
Great, but so the first video I saw at my aunt's house was Red Skies at Night by The Fix. And I saw them like 3 times as well in concert too, different times in my life. So that was the first video I saw was Red Skies at Night by The Fix. But that was, when MTV first came out, you were like glued to it. And people would put a VHS tape in or a beta and tape hours of it and play it back at parties. When you think about today, what we went through. When I was a kid, I used to have a tape recorder. I'm talking about the early to mid 70s. And my first tape recorder, I must have been 7 or 8 years old. And to get the Kmart blank tapes that were 60 minutes and 90 minutes long, blue and red cassette tapes, those you might remember.
Oh, yeah.
You'd have to sit in front of your radio, whether it was a transistor radio or if you're lucky enough, later on, your stereo speaker. That's how you recorded songs. You had to put your tape recorder up, and nobody had a microphone. It was the built-in mic on the tape recorder, and you would just have to tape music that way. This is before Walkmans or any of that nonsense,
Yeah, and that was the best part. But then the better part of that was how many guys, and some women, but how many guys end up making, back in the day, the mixtape when they were, with the one they were going to be with forever, and they recorded certain songs, and, they gave it to them, like, what's this? Like, nothing. It's just nothing. Just a bunch of songs. Just listen. It's nothing.
Yeah, I mean, it really, but you were happy to do. I mean, you did it. You did. I would tape TV shows. I'm like, I'd take Welcome Back Carter and then Happy Days and stuff, and listen to it as I was going to sleep at night. Whatever, if I wasn't, staying up late and stuff like that. But people, these. The youth of America today, these young whippersnappers with their Rubik's Cubes and their Etch a Sketches, I mean, they just don't understand.
They sure don't.
Oh man! See, I used to make games on a pivot pool. Remember pivot pool?
Yeah.
It's a pool table that had a built-in cue stick. It just and I used to make, jumps and stuff, and I'd put a ramp up on the pool table and to see how far the balls could shoot out. Try to aim them at my sister,
Well, speaking of, and my sister, I told her years later, but so my sister was because I was a nerd, I didn't have a lot of friends. The house next door to us ended up having a leak in their sewage. And so she started hanging out with more and more of her girlfriends. Like, my sister was very sociable I was late to the game. So I ended up cutting a Nerf football in half, and I kind of dipped it, but it was the water not next to it. It had nothing to do with the sewage water. But there was the neighbor had put a thing on the ground, like a pail of water. Yeah. And so I dunked the ball in there, and she's coming across the street, and I launched it, thinking it was going to go over her head. Well, it hits her just on the upper blade of her shoulder, and it splashes, and she thinks it's the nasty water. runs inside, gets my mom like, boy, I'm dead. And I sure was, at least for about a week. I was destroyed, but I took it to chin. What else am I going to do? I just didn't think I was going to hit her.
See, I was just the opposite. So I was very, get mad. I was very outgoing, very extra. My sister Andrew was very introverted. She's not anymore, but she was. She was a bookworm. But she did all the things that I never did. I didn't have the balls to do it. I give her credit. She took the car out at 14, even though we lived in the townhouse complex and every goddamn neighbor in the neighborhood saw it. Plus, she hit the curb on the first turn. I took the blame for that. She got drunk. She got caught with pot, all that stuff. But my favorite story, this is my favorite. My sister Andrew, she's probably listening. She's probably pissed. And she's unbelievable. She's an unbelievable mom, wife to my nieces and nephews. I'm godfather to two of them, and they're all great, adult and grown up now and doing fantastic. But I'm like 7 or 8. I'll never forget it. I must have been 8 years old or 9. I think I was 9. My sister might have been 8. She was a year younger than me. And I remember I had a little mini earache, and it's around Christmas time. And the one cartoon I really don't like, and I still don't at Christmas time, for whatever reason, I don't like the song either. I don't care for it, is Little Drummer Boy. I don't like it. I don't like the cartoon. It was boring to me, and I don't care for the song. Anyway, I'm just lying on the couch. I'm like, oh, and I was afraid to tell my parents a little bit that my ear was hurting. I said, it'll go away. Something must be up. My father comes downstairs. This is 1976 or 77. Comes downstairs. Sits down on the couch, and he was like white as a ghost. And I'm like, Dad, what's the matter? And I said, is everything okay? And he's like, shaking his head. I'm shaking my head on the video, shaking my. And I'm like, is Grandma okay? Because my grandmother on my dad's side was the only grandparent I knew. Everybody else had died before I was like 1.5 years old. Is Grandma okay? Auntie okay? Your mother and I are heartbroken, he says. I'm like, why? I go, what do you mean you're heartbroken? Why? And I'm thinking, did I do something?
Right.
And my parents weren't hitters or anything like that. My mom, Italian mom, she threatened with a wooden spoon, as most Italian moms would do, or count to 3. Your mother and I are heartbroken. Why? We caught your sister and Jeannie smoking one of your mother's cigarettes.
Oh, no.
And I went, bah! I fell off the couch laughing. And he starts giving it to you. Don't you do that? You know how serious this is? And even back then, I'm thinking to myself, well, that's what you get. You and Mom smoke. Not all the time. My mother smoked more than my dad. My dad would smoke cigars on the golf course once in a while. But, there was, they smoked back then. Not a lot, but they nevertheless, it was in the house with matches and everything. I died laughing. And Jeannie was our neighbor that lived 2 houses down. I was best friends with her brother. He was the original Tiger. Real name was Jack, but his nickname was Tiger because when he was a kid, he would just wolf down food, I guess, as a baby. And we still keep in touch. It's so funny because I laughed my head off. And, she got grounded for, I don't know, a few days or something like that. Ended up, in this day and age, that would be nothing. Oh, your son or daughter tried a cigarette. What did you do? I never cared for it. I never smoked. I never even liked marijuana. Just all that did was put me to sleep. A couple of times I had it and tried it. Never wasn't my thing. But I didn't drink at all till I was like 19 years old, 20 years old. Didn't have any drink. I was too involved with sports and other stuff. But she's the one that because she was straight A student. I wasn't. I was a big C+/B- student, maybe, on some good days, sometimes less than that. Yeah, but she was a straight A student, she did everything else. But, my name was in the paper for sports or this, that, or the other thing. And I was more outgoing than she was. And then she totally changed. I remember her senior year of high school is when she flipped and really became one. Because we didn't speak not that we didn't speak. It just was, I would always protect her. I would always be there for her if she wanted me to. But it's not like we hung out together.
Right.
I dated most of her friends. I'll say that. which caused some animosity sometimes, and especially when she had sleepovers. And, I'm upstairs and she was with my girlfriend downstairs. And, that kind of sucked. But other than that, I'm a trooper. I'm not a trooper like you. ex-military man, which again, we thank you for your service. But, I overcame, I adjusted, I adapted. How many people could stay upstairs in their room while their girlfriend is downstairs hanging out with their sister in the other room? And your parents know that you're dating, so the door is open. And, I can't make a peep after 10 o'clock trying to make a move.
No,
Awful.
The one thing I never dated any of my sisters, and she has some great friends to this day. She still has a good connection with most of her friends in high school, but I never did. I guess because I didn't really start talking to anybody until after high school. Because my thing was like I just a nerd. I want to get through high school. I either want to become a police officer or do something else, and I end up joining the military, which I love. But that's when I started kind of breaking out of my shells when I joined the military. And the first time I came across any woman, I literally didn't know what the hell to say because she was like, hello. I'm like, hi. She's like, are you all right? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I had no game. And then I figured, okay, if I keep doing this nonsense, I'm never going to be with anybody.
Well, I was scared to death. I started to come into my own a little bit, not being shy. I was always shy around girls, always. So 7th grade social, 1979, 1980, around there. My first dance, we had social in the afternoon for 7th and 8th grade, or just a 7th grade, I think. And, finally, I didn't ask this girl, Darcy. She was very sweet. She came up. She's like, Pete, do you want to dance? I'll never forget it. It was to Styx, Babe. And that was the first time, because back then it wasn't like, you didn't dance like a hand on the shoulder, but you grabbed the girl, you grabbed your waist, and you kind of were hugging while you were dancing. That's just the way it was. It wasn't like you were doing, the old, two-step overbite, like that. You weren't doing that. So that got me out of my shell a little bit. I was still scared the shit out of me dancing with a girl in 7th grade. And I was like, God, she was really pretty. I was like, oh man, this is, and then I dated a girl after that, finally came in and I found this other girl liked me and everything else. And then she broke up with me because I didn't kiss her. 7th grade. Geez. So I was devastated. And I vowed that would never happen again. It would never happen again. So, and I was always a gentleman. I mean, always hold the door open. Didn't matter. Pay for the movies, whether it was $1 or $5, pizza after. And I was lucky where I lived because I had a movie theater right across the street and a pizza place right across the street from where I live. So it was an easy one. But anyway, we digress. I don't know how we get on this subject, but it's pretty funny. It's pretty fun. But you came into your own, obviously. It's somewhere along the high school days, right?
Yeah. Well, matter of fact, now that I think about it, there was a girl, if I remember correctly, her name was Nancy. And I think she went to my sister's school, but she took a liking to me. I had no idea. Again, I was never about it. Well, the one day she ended up stopping by before my mom moved to New England. I moved first, and then she ended up moving up there. She came by my grandmother's house. We were on the 2nd floor. My grandmother owned this 3-story building. She used to own buildings. Didn't speak like English, but owned buildings. So she comes by, she stops. I'm like, hey, what are you doing here? She's like, I just, wanted to come see you. I'm like, all right. I thought kind of bizarre. Well, here, my grandmother must have heard her walk in. So she comes upstairs. I freaked out. I'm like, oh no, the only person that's here is obviously my grandmother because she didn't go to work today. Mm-hmm. So I grab an apple from the kitchen, put her in the closet, throw the apple in there, say, here, if you're hungry, just, eat this. And so
Are you shitting me? Are you serious?
Yeah.
You threw Nancy in the closet with an apple?
Yeah.
What kind of apple?
A red apple.
Smith? A red.
Well, my grandmother walks away after she checked everything. She's like, all right, I thought I heard something. So I walk her out the front door. And
oh my God.
When I opened up the closet door, she looked at me like, I can't believe you did that. But didn't say the words, but you could tell by her face. Did not speak to me for about 3 months. I'm like, what? I thought it was a normal crap. What do I know? Until I found out when we went to gym about 2 weeks later, when all the girls started laughing at me, I had no clue. I'm thinking like, all right, is something hanging out? Like, what's going on? They're like, oh, do you have an apple? I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh man, you're lucky you didn't get a bunch of apples in front of your locker, not your gym locker, but outside, your locker. Oh, that is a riot. You shoved Nancy in the closet with an apple.
Yippers. I told you, I had no game. I had no clue. Nada. But it's okay. I learned.
That is absolutely outstanding. Outstanding. All right, and we're going to try to get a little MLB rundown here before my first guest, Patrick Gilroy, comes on at the bottom of the hour. So Cubs in Colorado last night. This or yesterday, whenever it was. I don't know if it was day or night. But Cubs win 9-8. Here's early on, though, it was all Cubs.
That one drilled in the air. Left field on its way and gone. Seiya Suzuki homered last night. He's gone yard here again tonight, and it is 5-0. I think he's feeling pretty good.
Yeah, dancing in the rain.
That put the Cubs up 5-0 in the bottom of the fifth, but Colorado was not done.
It looked like the Rockies were hopelessly out of it. They were down 8-3. Come on. And this ball's driven to deep center field. Long run for Tauchman. He can't get there. Charlie to third. Charlie's going to score easily. Tovar has tied it up. 8-8. How do you like that?
All right, we're gonna do more baseball and stuff going into the bottom of the hour, and then after that, Angel, you want to stick around because Patrick Gilroy, who's working out in Arkansas, that's Arkansas to you and me. He's out. Says, Pete, no power, no internet, no nothing. Massive ice storm. I'm sorry, but I can't call tomorrow. Actually, he might be back in New Hampshire. That's where he lives. He was in Arkansas, but New Hampshire is getting crushed.
110,000 plus without power.
Yeah, and he lives in the Nashua area up in southern New Hampshire. They're getting absolutely creamed. Okay, so that Ezekiel Tovar game-tying RBI double made it 8-8, but guess Seiya Suzuki was at it again in the bottom of the eighth, thanks to Marquis.
That's the third. McMahon coming home. And it gets away. Run scores. Stallings couldn't hang on to it. Cubs lead. 9-8. In real time, JD, I couldn't tell. Maybe he just tried to grab it and put the tag down too soon.
Well, that's the final 9-8. Then again, thanks to Marquis for the calls there. Meanwhile, Cincinnati over Philadelphia yesterday, 4-1. Christian Encarnacion.
Ripped to left field. Off the base of the wall, Martini scores. India scores. Throw to second offline. A standing 2-run double. Belted by Encarnacion Strand. A 2-0 Reds lead.
You just kind of see the way that Encarnacion Strand had some pretty good swings the first time up and then in this at-bat as well. Good compact swing on a fastball in the inner part of the plate.
Reds are 4-2 now after that win, and the Philadelphia Phillies, your Philadelphia Phillies, have now are now 2-4.
Yeah.
Game and a half behind Atlanta, but still very, very early in the season. Thanks again there to Bally Sports. San Diego beats St. Louis by a score of 3-2.
3-2. Donovan runs. Goldschmidt takes strike three. Throw to second to tag. Double play.
What a great job. Let's go back to the pitch first of all. It's a breaky ball. Higgy comes up throwing. Now Bogarts has got to go up and then back down for the tag. Love to strike him out, throw him out.
Runner goes. Higashioka's throw is great, and they got him again. Arenado out trying to steal second to end the inning. This one will be challenged. Really, really, really close.
After review, the call on the field stands. The runner is out. St. Louis will keep their challenge.
For the first time in Kyle Higashioka's career, he's caught two guys trying to steal in the same game, and he's done it twice here in the fourth. Base is empty, one out in the bottom of the fourth for Kyle Higashioka, making his second start in the brown and gold, looking for his first hit as a Padre. And Higashioka launches it to deep left. Donovan is back. His first hit as a Padre is a home run. What an inning for Kyle Higashioka. Throws out two guys trying to steal in the top and goes deep in the bottom.
Good for the kid. Good for the kid.
And it is really unbelievable in baseball, Angel, and you've watched enough baseball. I know I have. The guy that makes the great defensive play oftentimes comes up in the same inning and either hits a home run or a big-time hit. And the other reason why that's significant, Higashioka becomes the first Padre since at least 1974 to throw out two runners attempting to steal and homer in the same inning. Isn't that crazy?
It sure is. Jeez.
Unbelievable. Meanwhile, Dodgers continue to win incredibly. They only have the best lineup in baseball. They beat San Francisco by a score of 5-4. Tyler Glasnow was awesome.
Tyler Glasnow has faced the Giants 3 times in his career and been splendid.
He's been very good against the Giants, that 160 batting average. But the best thing about him is he's not walking guys like he did in Korea. He's now attacking again and getting in good pitchers counts.
Got him swinging as the bottom falls out of this one.
And that is the curveball, the put-away pitch. 12-6 on your clock or your watch, and that ball.
Yeah, you get the idea. It was a great game for him. He struck out 7 across 6 innings. Glasnow did. Dodgers win by a score of 5-4. The Pittsburgh Pirates finally took a loss, Angel. They lose to Washington by a score of 5-3.
Oh. And evidently so did millions of others. High in the air, Joey Gallo. He's done it. See you upper deck later. Joey Gallo's first hit of the year leaves the yard, and the Nats are on the board. And welcome to the Joey Show and the Light Show. Cutter up and in.
Well, it didn't get really in. Right off the bat, and we got ourselves a 447-foot shot. That was a bomb.
Thanks to credit MASN there and Sportsnet. But later on, Pittsburgh's Derek Shelton got a little testy.
Triolo on the move. Could not hold up. Reynolds down on strikes. Called out by Mike Malinsky, the home plate umpire. And Derek Shelton is out. Being warned by Malinsky. And Derek Shelton has been ejected. Derek Shelton wanted him to appeal that.
Well, I mean, that's why he's down there. That's why they have that available to them.
Derek Shelton ejected. Giving it to Mike Malinsky.
Thanks again there. Okay, Sportsnet Pittsburgh. Washington does beat the Pirates 5-3. Pirates is still, that's their first loss of the year. They're 5-1. The Baltimore Orioles nipped Kansas City by a score of 4-3.
7th inning. Well hit right field. Santander is back, and Maikel Garcia has hit 3 home runs. He hit his 3rd home run last year on July the 3rd. It is April the 3rd, and that's his 3rd home run of the season.
Yep, that put the Royals up, Angel, in the top of the 7-3-0. But the Baltimore Orioles were not done. Bottom of the 9th. Yep, it's a walk-off.
A 2-0 pitch. McCann, left side, base hit. Mountcastle ties it. Mullins will win it. James McCann gives the Orioles their 2nd walk-off win in 3 nights. Worth the wait.
Thanks to MASN there. And the Baltimore Orioles, my pick to go to the World Series this year. They improved to 4-2. Meanwhile, it was the defending world champion Texas Rangers beating up on Tampa Bay yet again.
Line drive. Oh, that ball. Caballero trying to make a quick move to second base. Got a little too quick on that one.
Let's take a look. That ball hammered. Yeah, oh, wow. He was trying to throw that ball before he actually secured the catch. Never was able to squeeze. Oh, no, maybe they're calling it on the transfer. That ball did not stay in the glove.
Wow.
That ball never, the glove never squeezed. But they were calling that on the transfer. All right, good for the Rays.
Yeah, Rays will take that.
Yeah, they will. But later in the game, Corey Seager goes deep.
Corey Seager always at the ready. 1-1, and that's in the air. Launched down the line. Will it have enough into that corner? It is gone!
Thanks to Bally Sports, the Southwest. Texas beats Tampa Bay 4-1. Well, I'll tell you what, Angel. I don't know if you want to hang with me. It's up to you. I'm going to continue the rundown in the American League. Then we'll get to the National League. And wait till you see the exciting finish for the Red Sox game coming up. What an exciting finish, Angel. It's even more. It's not quite as exciting yesterday when they won an extra innings after they scored on a double play ball with no RBI. That was great to win a game like that. I told you, I don't need any home runs. I'll win on a double play in extra innings. This one's almost as good. It's not a walk-off home run or a walk-off single or anything like that, but I think you'll enjoy it. And I'm a Red Sox person. I'm a fan, and I want to see them do well. So I'll take anything I can get. All right. Starship, Jefferson Airplane. Great song, great stuff. Welcome back to the Pete Sheppard Show here on Riptide Media Network. That's right. I am live from the Naples Wealth Planning Studio, and I do want to tell you once again about Total Sports Prep. For the best articles and audio, only one source that provides everything you need 365 days a year to satisfy your sports crave. It's Total Sports Prep. The staff combs through the best articles and audio so you don't have to. Sports and non-sports kicker stories leave you laughing all day long. To get your free trial of Total Sports Prep, contact them. Here's how. At info@sportsbroadcastingcoach.com. Info@sportsbroadcastingcoach.com. And Total Sports Prep, the name says it all. So Pete Sheppard here with you. Angel Martinez has joined me. Patrick Gilroy cannot. He's got no power in northern New England, as do many other people. Hopefully you are okay. The UConn men's basketball team had a hard time because of mechanical issues getting out of Connecticut at Bradley, but they finally did. And they landed in Phoenix not too long ago. It's just a few hours ago. So the NCAA, according to Pete Thamel, is working with UConn in real time to make schedule changes for Thursday. UConn arriving at 3:10 a.m. local time out there. They're working with the NCAA to push back practices and media obligations, obviously. The text line here, 727-858-6650, 727-858-6650. You can call the show as well, 781-418-0142. That's 781-418-0142. That is the number if you'd like to call the show. Thanks, everybody. And also you can view the show, which we recommend highly, up on Twitter and X. You can follow me at pshep326. I am now on my own Facebook page, obviously, along with Broad Street South's Facebook and YouTube pages. It's the Pete Sheppard Show, 7 to 10 a.m. Monday through Friday. We are building great stuff here at Riptide Media Network. We'll have a big press release coming up in a day or two. Lots of good stuff happening here with a lineup of unbelievable shows. So you're going to absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. All right, we'll continue with the MLB rundown. The Astros and the Toronto Blue Jays last night, and the Astros got it going early.
This ball smoked deep right center field. Number 2 on the night, the big man who wears 44 is 4-4 tonight with 2 balls.
Yep, courtesy there of the Space City Home Network. About that. The Astros had Angel Martinez back with us. Houston goes on to rout Toronto by a score of 8-0. Now, the game of the night, the Red Sox winning 1-0. I mean, it just doesn't get any better than this. Here he is. And this is a lone run of the game. This is exciting. You want to play this for your kids someday.
Best chance of the day for the Red Sox, and that one stroked into right field. Brown moving in on it. Casas tagging. Here's the throw. They let it come through, but it's far too late. The Red Sox are on the board. Valdez with a sac fly.
How about that? You know, it's only a 1-0 game, Angel. And here's the lone Oakland A's highlight defensively late in the game in the 8th.
Casas 1 for 3, scored the lone run of the day. This looks like it has double play all over it. Absolutely getting out of it, and a fist pump from TJ McFarland.
Gives you goosebumps, doesn't it? Right up there with do you believe in miracles? I mean, just atrocious. Absolutely atrocious play calling, as is your team. They are absolutely pathetic. Meanwhile, the Cleveland Indians, 8-0 win over Seattle. Here's their big highlight from Jose Ramirez.
Driven to deep right field. Haniger running over. Hits right at the base of the wall. Scoring is Juan Jimenez, stops at third. It's an RBI double for Jose Ramirez, his second of the afternoon, and a 6-0 Guardians lead.
There you go. Cleveland wins 8-0 on the whole. White Sox in Atlanta postponed. Meanwhile, the L.A. Angels, no relation to this Angel, but the L.A. Angels, they got it going early once again against the pathetic, horrific Miami Marlins.
Career numbers there for Smith in his 3rd appearance here for the Marlins. Getting the ground ball left side. Anderson comes around it, jump throw, and a strike to first base.
Who says Neto is the only good shortstop in the building? It's well planned and well timed. He backhands it with that left foot, then he goes to the right foot, turns and jumps, like Derek Jeter used to do, and throws a strike across the diamond to Bell. It's a big league play right there. Strong arm, too.
That's from Bally Sports, and I played that first, Angel, because I wanted. That's the lone Miami highlight. They're 0-7, by the way, but this is called Miami Marlin baseball right here.
Drove in a run.
Run to third. It's underneath Brujan and down the left field line. Hicks scores. Ward around third. He comes home. Throw to second. Drury is safe. And the Angels lead 4-0.
Every once in a while when you're playing good, you get some breaks, and that's a break right there.
Yeah, sure. Didn't matter. Taylor Ward finished him off in the 8th.
There's a long fly ball off the bat of Taylor Ward, straightaway center field. And Chisholm will watch this one fly. It is gone. A home run for Taylor Ward to straightaway center field.
Yep. Final 10-2. LA over Miami. 0-7. The Marlins are. Absolutely pathetic. Mets are pathetic too, but they got lucky. They didn't have to play Detroit yesterday. They were still undefeated at 4-0. That game was postponed. Yankees come back and beat Arizona 6-5. This was a really good game. And guess who hit his first home run of the year?
And the pitch. High fly ball. Deep right field. Carroll back. Track. Wall. See ya. There it is. His first home run of the year. A 2-run shot. 2-1 Yankees.
Well, we hear hitters talk about it all the time. All it takes is just one good swing, and I've got that feel again.
Judge needed that one. 3 for 25 coming into that at bat.
Thanks to the Yes Network. Thank God it wasn't John Sterling, because we would on FAN we would have had to hear all rise. They're good guys, by the way. You know, I always respected them and knowing those guys for a while, seeing them at Yankee Stadium from time to time, covering the Red Sox over there. But they were, when the Red Sox finally won in 2004, they came right into our broadcast booth right away and shook hands and hugged all of us and nice. Congratulated us. And it was the only time, I believe, in Yankee Stadium history that they played Frank Sinatra's New York, New York, because that was reserved only when the Yankees win at home. They would play the Liza Minnelli version always if the Yankees lost. But they played the Sinatra version for the Red Sox. It was pretty cool. Meanwhile, though, Marte for Arizona, he tied the game in the 5th.
Ketel Marte has tied the ball game way out here. An absolute moonshot for Ketel, and there's career hit number 1,001.
Good start on the next 1,000 hits in his career.
His first of the year, Ketel Marte.
Hey, Ketel Marte, and then Arizona retook the lead. This is credit from MLB.com.
He's at third with one out. This will get one run in. Volpe gobbles it up. Wild throw, and Rizzo can't hang on. Perdomo heads for second. He's limping in there. Something's wrong with Domo. And that's the tying run. It's a one-run game. A wild throw from Anthony Volpe, and Rizzo couldn't collect it. And let's check on Geraldo down there. He was hobbling into second base. And Max Esposito, the athletic trainer, is going to have a look. Geraldo Perdomo's down.
He just pounded that sinker into the dirt to the left side of the infield and looked like he got tangled up right there trying to avoid Anthony Rizzo, and in doing so knocked the ball out of his glove.
That turn.
Yep.
I don't think he collided with Rizzo. You thought maybe he tore the nose going to go.
And then Corbin Carroll had the game-tying single in the bottom of the 10th.
First pitch swing and a tapper. Foot race is on, and we're tied. Well, you don't have to hit every ball 500 feet when you can run like Corbin Carroll.
But once that ball gets over Clay Holmes' head, that's going to be a very tough play for any shortstop.
Again, that tied the game. And later on in the top of the 11th, Angel, here's something that you don't see a lot.
Oh, it's a balk. How do you like that? Birdie scores. Torres goes to second. The home plate umpire, Brian Walsh, called the balk, and that allows the run to score.
John Sterling, WFAN right there. And finally, Aaron Judge did it again at the top of the 11th, put the Yankees up 6-4.
And that hurt the golf. That one's driven into right center field on the run, Barossa. He can't get there. It gets by him, and it goes all the way to the wall. Scoring is Torres. Going to second with a big RBI double. Aaron Judge. And the Yankees lead 6-4.
I can feel our friend AJ Johnson getting all dewy and goosebumpish listening to these highlights.
That's probably where he was. He was probably at the game last night.
AJ, he's been on. He's on a little vacation this rest of the week and then into next week. But Yankees 6-1. My Red Sox, by the way, have won 4 in a row. They're 5-2. They're only a game behind the stupid Yankees, and they're ahead of Baltimore right now. Your Philadelphia Phillies, as we said before, they are there in third place at 2-4 thus far. You know what's scary about the Phillies though? They're minus 14 in run differential already.
Yeah.
Miami's minus 27. Miami is minus 27. You know what Colorado is? They're 1-6. You know what Colorado's run differential is already?
What is it?
Minus 34.
Good Lord.
Minus 30 already. 7 games in.
Who's pitching? A bunch of high schoolers?
Oh, God. No, remember, it's ball flies out of the park in Colorado.
Oh, yeah.
Remember.
Yeah.
My boy Rocco Baldelli, the skipper of the Twins, gets the Minnesota Twins back on track over Milwaukee. But early on, it was Milwaukee taking the lead.
Bang, bang. Replay overturned it.
Now Hoskins flirting with the pole. It's gone. Reese Hoskins makes it 2-0. His first as a Brewer at American Family Field.
Laid it back nicely on that changeup. Change up, middle in, second deck.
Not messing around.
No, he is not. Again, thanks to Bally Sports. Jackson Churio also got into the act later on.
Churio, deep right center. Back it goes and gone! First big league homer for Jackson Churio. Using the big part of the field.
And where does he hit it? To the opposite field, right? I mean, that is impressive for a young kid like that. Number 1 for Churio. Gotta love it. He's a good one. He's going to be good for a long time.
I think the guys were trying to do the silent treatment as long as they could, but for number 1, oh man, soak that up.
Oh, yeah. No, things were all cherry and giggles in the bottom of the 5th, Angel. But guess what happened in the 7th inning?
He stays the 2-2. Jeffers to left. Deep. Yelich drifting. Yelich near the wall. It's gone! Ryan Jeffers all smiles. His first hit of 2024 is a go-ahead 2-out 3-run homer, and the Twins surge in front 6-3.
They go on to win 7-3, Angel. You see, it's not how you. Did you know this? It's not how you start, Angel. It's how you finish. You ever hear that before?
Yeah. We need to use that in the cut.
Yeah. Ryan checking in. My Pirates are 5-1, but they're still eliminated from the Twins. No, Ryan, your team's going to make the playoffs.
Listen,
I'm telling you, Ryan, your team is going to make the postseason this year.
Hang on for a second, though, because Ryan has been dead on with his team for the last 4 seasons. Last year,
I agree with him. I would agree with him the last 4 seasons, but I think this year is going to be a little bit different.
Let's hope.
I do. I do.
Love it.
Yeah, I do. All right, let's see, Angel. All right, that's it for the Major League Baseball highlights. Going to get to the let's do the NHL first before the NBA. Try to cram this all in before me. O'Brien joins me at 9:05 a.m. So she's got a cool little show, I think noon to 2 up in Jacksonville called Helmets and Heels.
Really?
Yeah, and every day on her station up at 1010. XL. So we'll talk to her about that. But she's so knowledgeable about the NFL. I can't wait to hear her thoughts on the Buffalo Bills trade as well. All right. Well, we told you, in case you missed it, we told you about the brawl that happened. I'll play that cut again a little bit later on. But we'll just get to the basics of what went down in the National Hockey League last night. So the Rangers came back 4-3. There were a whole bunch of ejections and fights in the first 2 seconds of this game, which I'll get to in a second. Panarin had a goal and an assist. Lafreniere had a goal and an assist. Fox had 2 assists. Rangers come back and win 4-3. And they won most of the fights, too, early on. The Tampa Bay Lightning in Toronto at Scotiabank Arena whipped the Maple Leafs 4-1 in that one. We'll have DeAndre Lou on at the bottom of the hour to talk about it. Vasilevsky was outstanding in net last night with 28 saves. Kucherov with 3 assists. Hagel with 2 assists. Stars blanked the Oilers 5-0 there. Oettinger had 35 stops for the Stars. Faxa had a goal and 2 assists. Johnson a goal and an assist as well. The Kraken lose in Los Angeles to the Kings by a score of 5-2. Dubois had 3 assists in that one. And finally, it was the Vancouver Canucks over the hapless Phoenix Coyotes by a score of 2-1. Garland had a goal for Vancouver, and Hughes had a goal and an assist. So there is your There's your rundown from the NHL, Angel. Some good stuff last night, but I will play the cut. I'm going to play it again right here, Angel. Those of you who missed it last night, this is what happened at Madison Square Garden. 2 seconds into the game, courtesy of TNT.
Square Garden has seen its fair share of bouts on the canvas on the ice. No undercard tonight. Rempe and McDermott, the main event to open the hockey game. Both sides. Lazar on the other side as well. Jimmy Vesey and Lazar. Gaudreau has dropped him with Kevin Ball as well. Now it's 5-on-5. McDermott and Rempe exchanging blows. But everybody has gloves off at the Garden. DeAndre Miller and John Marino. There's only 4 officials. There's 5 fights. They're trying to break up what they can. Meanwhile, Rempe and McDermott still throwing it. DeAndre Miller got the better of John Marino down on the other end. As McDermott still feeding rights to Rempe. The other 4 are all done. The main event's still going.
This is unbelievable. Holy jump, and what a start to this one right here. But McDermott's got it. He had a couple of uppercuts.
This is a marathon between Rempe and McDermott.
Oh, they're going to be out of gas. Completely out of gas. Completely out of gas. Holy jump.
Yeah, thanks to TNT. So the main event last night, 10 skaters on the ice in the opening faceoff. The goalies did not fight. Matt Rempe and Curtis McDermott, the big heavyweight battle there. Back in March 11th, if you don't remember, Rempe knocked Devils defenseman Jonas Single out of the game with that high elbow, and he was suspended for 4 games. They fought the longest yesterday. 8 players, 4 from each team, received game misconducts 2 seconds into the match and were ejected, along with Rempe, New York defenseman Jacob Trouba, Keandre Miller, forward Barclay Gaudreau, all ejected. For New Jersey, Kevin Ball, John Marino, and forwards Chris Tierney and McDermott weren't playing nice, and they left. Kudos to the goalies, Igor Shesterkin and Capo Kokkonen. Didn't participate in the fight. Good for them. Absolutely good for them.
It looked like almost, you know how to choreograph when, getting ready to do a rap video or dance video and everybody already knows what the opening line is going to be. It was the best because as soon as the game was off, it's like everybody like in sync, threw the gloves down, 6 go down. Let's get at it, Hoss.
It was old school. It's happened before in the NHL, but not like that in a while. Like I said, I remember back it was either 1980 or 81, and the Bruins and the Minnesota North Stars went at it big time in the opening face-off, and there was even more penalty minutes and ejections. Now I remember the penalty box looked like both of them looked like small villages. It was just absolutely absolutely hysterical. Absolutely hysterical. All right. Before the top of the hour, Angel, let's run down the NBA. Now, I want to hang on, let me get my standings up here. I don't like the fact that the Lakers are winning. I think they've won, what have they won? 6 in a row?
Yeah, they're on a roll.
They've won 6 in a row. Yeah, I'm sorry. They won 3 in a row. But they're 8-2 in their last 10. And they're still only in 9th place. They're fighting off Golden State because, the play-in tournament, the play-in tournament is something that they're going to have to be playing in, maybe, if they hang on. And I think they will. But the in-season tournament where they won, that was just such a big deal. The Lakers beat Washington 125 to 120 early on. AD.
Lakers now shooting 56%. Good steal by Prince.
Yeah, I mean, they're not getting opportunities. What a pass! Underneath Davis counted on one. Great vision by LeBron.
And then his left hand off the three. That's not an easy pass to make that accurately.
Okay. Yep. Again, this is from Spectrum Sportsnet. AD had a good night, and this was a great rim rocker. Puts them up 30-24 in the first.
Gets bumped from behind by Avdia, who missed the shot a moment ago. Dinwiddie wants Davis, finds Davis. 25 to go. And he turns, and he gets a rebound. He's going to score this one. Backhand dunk.
You never look at Anthony Davis missing the first and then saying, well, I'm not going to miss this one.
30-24 at the time was the lead for the Lakers. And here's something, Angel, I thought I'd never, ever see that happened in the second quarter with the Lakers up 60-51.
Defensive team in the NBA.
That's a good move by Poole. Then he had the rim block his shot.
Spinning. LeBron, count it. No. Going the other way. Offensive foul.
As LeBron does his spin, watch the arm. The left elbow catches right in the side of the head, basically, and boom, get out of the way.
Yeah, that hurts.
Yeah, that has to hurt. They're going to look at this, and this will probably be upgraded to a flagrant one.
I'm with you on that. This is one where Abdia, and I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't stay in the game.
After reviewing the play, the offensive foul has been overruled and changed to a flagrant foul penalty 1. It does meet the criteria for a flagrant foul.
Oh, there you have it. Thanks to Spectrum Sportsnet LA. Dylan checking in. The play-in tournament is worth it in the case of the West when teams below the 8-team cut line are competitive and above 500, but not a huge fan of it when teams under 500 get in. Now, I hear, Dylan, the play-in tournament, the only thing that was good about it is there was less load management. I didn't watch much of it. I didn't really care. I think there's not really a great time to play that tournament. Didn't do anything for me, but I hear where you're coming from, Dylan. Thanks for checking in. How about this? Anybody know who Malachi Flynn is? Angel came off the bench last night for the Pistons and put a 50 burger up.
Murray double team, and they take it away. And Malachi's got a lay-in. Timeout Atlanta. Flynn's got 50.
That's for sure. Yeah, that was going to be a backcourt violation, I believe, but the Pistons ended up taking the ball away, and Flynn got an easy one.
How about that? Unbelievable. Malachi Flynn scores 50.
Pull up, long gun from the top. It goes. Malachi splashes it down from downtown with 50 seconds left.
7-point game, 3 possessions.
Malachi Flynn with 48, just 2 away from 50.
And then you got the 50. I played those on the board, obviously, because I'm an idiot. But Atlanta won the game 121 to 113. My Boston Celtics clinched the best record in the NBA. They will have home court advantage throughout the postseason play. Kristaps Porzingis put back on ESPN.
And here comes Holiday. They've got numbers 5-on-4. One more to a wide open Horford. Shooting well over 4. What a foul by Porzingis.
You know, there was a play later on in that game where Jaylen Brown was coming down the floor in the fourth quarter, and I thought it was almost going to be an alley-oop to Little Pritchard. They call him Little Pritchard. He was calling for it, and it would have been a layup because he can't dunk. But nevertheless, it was funny. The Celtics rout Oklahoma City. A couple of their good players weren't playing, but it didn't matter. 135 to 100. Brooklyn over Indiana really didn't mean much. 115 to 111. Memphis over Milwaukee. The Milwaukee Bucks, you just can't figure them out. They are, I don't know what's going to happen come playoff time. They're the second seed. They're 11.5 games, 12 games behind the Celtics. Obviously, they're not going to catch them. That's been clinched already. But, okay, here's the Giannis highlight in transition in the third quarter.
Gigi drives on Crowder. Jemison comes up with a loose ball, and it's blocked again. Antetokounmpo already 4 blocks, takes it the distance, jams with 2 hands.
That put Milwaukee up 67 to 57 in the third, but they just absolutely collapsed, courtesy of a lot of it, Jaren Jackson Jr.
And expect a quick double team. Shot clock down to 6. Here it comes.
Jaren. A baseline fadeaway 3, bingo! Holy cow! What a shot from Jaren Jackson Jr. Grizzlies, their largest lead of the night and the toughest shot.
Really an awful loss. Memphis wins 111 to 101 thanks to Bally Sports there. Minnesota clobbers Toronto. They are awful. 133 to 85. Rudy Gobert.
You know, he did redshirt 1 year at Louisville, so he is a little bit older, 25 years of age.
Disrespectful.
Block party here early on. Minnesota's got a number of block shots in this game.
Rudy. That made it 58-40 Minnesota. But, right after that, Grady Dick from Toronto with the big 2-point jumper.
Rudy chants from this crowd. Grady Dick. Yes. Wolves with 4 total blocks in this ball game thus far.
Okay. Finishing up, Orlando over New Orleans 117 to 108. It was Phoenix over Cleveland 122 to 101. And there is your NBA wrap up. Who else is checking in? Happy birthday to John Hanna. Yeah, Bob. Bob is a great author. Yes, John Hanna's birthday is today. One of the greatest, arguably the greatest offensive lineman of all time. Just amazing. Out of Alabama. Great offensive lineman. All right, Angel, it's that time again. I'm going to take another quick break. Hour coming your way. This morning, it is April 4th here on the Riptide Media Network. I am Pete Sheppard, live from the Naples Wealth Planning Studio. You can call you can call me at 781-418-0142, but don't do that right just yet because Mia O'Brien is going to be checking in. You can text the show, as always, 727-858-6650. That is the number to text. Mia's going to join me coming up in just a second here. Oh, just a few minutes, I should say, here on the Pete Sheppard Show. I'm here until 10 o'clock today. And coming up later today on Riptide Media Network, you will have the LFG show from 1 to 3 p.m., the video portion of it right here. Other stuff is coming. Robert says, great morning to you guys. Yes, thanks. And we welcome back. Angel Martinez is here too for a little bit as well. Angel, just great to have you on board. What's this? Oh, James Palmer, NFL Network. Some personal news. NFL Network has bought out my contract and my time, and it has come to an end. It was a dream job. I loved every minute of it. That's mostly because of the people, yada, yada, yada. So he is gone. Andrew Siciliano, Melissa Stark, and James Palmer and Will Silva are all out as the NFL Network continues trimming. How about that? That's breaking right now. Wow.
There's some openings here at Riptide Media Network. So, hey, Bob.
Yeah. Wow, Melissa Stark was at ESPN. She goes over there. So everybody, the broadcasting business is something else. It really is. Sure Andrew Siciliano, who did what Scott Hansen does, for Red Zone over on DirecTV, did it for a while. Then he went over to NFL Network, or he was always there. So he's out. Melissa Stark is out. James Palmer is out. And Will Silva as well, as they continue trimming budgets. Meanwhile, ESPN is cutting a whole bunch of people off. Excuse me, but then they keep hiring people too. So it's a crazy, crazy business. But we are doing some great things here, as you know, Angel Martinez at riptidemedia.net with Naples Wealth Planning and President Brian Bruno and his partner Rick Calhoun doing an amazing job. We are putting together an unbelievable network here, and it is going to keep growing and growing. And it's this time it counts.
It is.
That's all I'm going to say. This time it counts, baby.
And pretty soon you'll be able to hit number 2 on your phones. You'll hear it in Spanish. Of course, I'm kidding, but it'd be pretty neat.
What about Italian? How about Hebrew?
Yeah.
Greek? Greek? I'm actually what language would you like to speak? It doesn't matter. Swahili if you want. Who cares?
Okay, and that'll be options 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7.
And of course, Angel, you are the new play-by-play voice for the arena, Spanish-speaking play-by-play voice for the new arena football for the Orlando Predators.
Yes, very, very exciting. I can't wait for that to kick off, even though it'll be a little nerve-wracking game 1, but it's a lot of fun. And yesterday I put out a tweet to let everybody know that, yes, I can do the simulcasting where un minuto puedo hablar en español, and then the next minute go right back here to English, so it works out just fine. So that'll be that's gonna be the fun part, putting all that stuff together and doing usually when we hear the translation, right? Like Otani, for example, he has his translator. So now it's backwards. We're all here, the American athlete speaking to me, then translate over to Spanish so everybody can kind of keep up.
Love that, man. That is absolutely that's outstanding. That's outstanding. Did you ever call a soccer game before?
No, I wasn't fortunate enough, although hopefully something soon. I'll put in best terms.
Okay. Because I want to know if you could hold the what's the great announcer for Telemundo that's been doing it for years. Go, and he can hold it for like 25 seconds.
Sure can. It's ridiculous. Talking about guys driving on the field, and I mean, yeah, that goal. I mean, that is. It's funny how some things become your signature call without even realizing it. But yeah, he was onto something, and he can hold that for the longest.
It is it's great stuff. And you can text the show as well, 727-858-6650. Or you can chime in on all the video platforms that are out there on Facebook pages, not just mine now, but also on Broad Street South Facebook and YouTube pages. Follow me on Twitter or X at pshep326. Lots of response, lots of, as we say, hits and impressions, Angel, through the roof. It's been outstanding. So I want to thank everybody. And we're always going to have a lot of fun here. We don't just talk sports. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of entertainment. In case you missed it last hour, breaking news: Angel had a girlfriend or a potential girlfriend, and he was a young junior high kid. Had thought his grandma walked in, thought they were thought he might get caught doing something, even though they weren't doing anything naughty. They were just talking. And poor Nancy, he says he put her in the cabinet in the cupboard with an apple and said, "Be quiet."
That's right. I'll make it a highlight reel for later on and just embarrass my own self.
Unbelievable. All right, here she is, my half Sicilian, half Irish friend, all the way up from Tallahassee and Jacksonville. Mia O'Brien. She says half Gaelic, half garlic. I love that last week. Catch her on 1010XL. Helmets and heels, or heels and helmets, I forget, and MoBrianTV.com. Mia, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, sir. How you doing?
I am fantastic. I want to congratulate you on your show that I tuned into last week. Very, very good. Very informative. Very impressed.
Yes, absolutely. So it's been in the weekly format for going on 10 years. It'll be a 10-year anniversary in August for Helmets and Heels. And the bosses that be, the powers that be, approached us in January and said, hey, we'd like to actually make it a daily program. And so we'll shuffle our lineup a little bit. It won't only behoove the three ladies of Helmets and Heels to provide them with a daily opportunity, but it also will give everybody else an opportunity to really maximize quality. It's 2 hours per day.
That's fantastic. That is fantastic. All right, let's get into the NFL yesterday. I guess I don't get shocked or chagrined anymore by anything in the NFL or trades in general, but this one is sort of interesting to me, and it's really interesting with Brandon Beane afterwards, which we'll get into. But your thoughts, Buffalo trading Stephon Diggs to Houston for the 2025 second-round pick via the Vikings, and number 189 overall, the sixth-round pick, a 2025 fifth-round pick. How'd you feel about this? Does this catch you off guard, this one?
Yeah, so, I mean, obviously the initial reaction when you see the Texans loading up again as someone who covers the Jacksonville Jaguars, or for Jaguar fans here in Jacksonville, was absolute panic. Just because I think the image of Stephon Diggs, despite him turning 31 later this year, I think carries weight given how many Pro Bowls he's made and the fact that he's been a part of a playoff team in Buffalo the past 4 years. And so I think the initial reaction was, oh my God, here they go again. Are the Jaguars competing and able to load up as much? But then when you actually think about the logistics of how this trade went down, yes, I understand the bulk of this dead cap money has already been paid, but in a vacuum, if you may, $31 million to pay someone to go away and to get away from a $21 million cap hit that I understand. If you're the Buffalo Bills, you have to pay a significant cap number for Josh Allen this year anyways, and you're trying to get out from under that. That's why dollars and cents, it makes sense. But just think about that big picture. $31 million to pay someone to go away. That says to me there's something else going on at play here, that truly Stephon Diggs was not happy in Buffalo and was no longer a great fit. You couple that with his stats, which took a significant downturn in the second half of last season. Sure, you can credit that to Joe Brady taking over the play calling, wanting to be more of a run-first offense, whatever. There's enough people who I've spoken with who have said that perhaps the deep threat ability of Stephon Diggs isn't what it used to be. Now, I say that and understand that he's going to have Nico Collins and Tank Dell taking away coverage from him in Houston, but I'm just curious what Stephon Diggs the Houston Texans are getting, in addition to now having to manage a $20+ million cap number for a receiver in his 30s for the next 4 years. And I understand you could get out from underneath it after 2 years maybe, but the truth of the matter is that the reason that a team like the Jaguars or another team that's quote-unquote on the cusp couldn't make this trade is because they don't have the cap space to be paying a 31-year-old receiver $20+ million.
But and that being said, though, you really got to hand it to Nick Caserio over there in Houston. I mean, they have done an amazing job. It started last year. They came out of nowhere. And C.J. Stroud media is going to be doing backflips by all the guys you just said. They get Joe Mixon. They get Nico Collins. They get Tank Dell. They got Dalton Schultz already as well. But this is what got to me. And, and Brandon Beane, the general manager of the Buffalo Bills, says, quote, "Are we better today?" Pause. Probably not. It's a work in progress, and we're going to continue to work on that. I would just hope that people know I'm competitive as hell, and I ain't giving in. We'll be ready to roll when it comes time to September. Well, Mia, Bills Mafia is going to storm the trenches here because that is not something as a Buffalo Bills fan I want to hear. Are we better today? Probably not. A work in progress. This is a team that was expected to try to at least compete for a Super Bowl only the last 4 years and this year as well. And that's what your GM says. We're not as good as we were yesterday. And it's a work in progress. If I'm a Bills fan, I am apoplectic. I am losing my mind.
I would say this though, Pete. Did Brett Veach not say we're worse today than we were yesterday after the Chiefs traded Tyreek Hill? I would say that the Bills are entering that next window of their evolution, if you may, akin to where the Kansas City Chiefs find themselves right now, where they are banking on hitting on draft picks, developing an offensive line, which coincidentally, those who have criticized when I've said that have said, yeah, well, how are the Bills building an offensive line if their center now plays for the Jacksonville Jaguars? Once upon a time, when the Chiefs traded Tyreek Hill, they didn't have a center. They had to bank on drafting Creed Humphrey and hoping that he would work out, drafting Trey Smith in the 6th round and hoping and praying the medicals would pay off with what their medical staff was telling them. And so I think that Buffalo, yes, in the short term, if I'm a Bills fan, I'm panicked because this sounds like you're selling off assets and you're looking at a reloading or rebuilding here. But the truth of the matter is that this is just the natural progression of an NFL team. Once you pay that quarterback who you believe is a top 5 quarterback in the league, you need to hope and bank on the fact that your development by your coaching staff and your ability to hit on draft picks will compensate not having that mega star receiver who you can also pay.
Yeah, that is way too logical for your average Buffalo Bills fan. So they're not only going to be jumping on the tables, they're going to be jumping off bridges, some of them, I think. I say that tongue-in-cheek, obviously. But, they don't care about it. They are going to hear, you know how these people are, Mia. They are going to hear, we're not better than we were yesterday and a work in progress. They don't care about any of the numbers and the logical, thoughtful discourse you just said. They're going to lose it. They're going to absolutely lose it.
Yeah, no, I agree because if you look at the Bills' track record in terms of drafting, yes, they were able to draft Josh Allen, and that obviously was a bet that they hedged that came to fruition thanks to the coaching and tutelage of Brian Daboll. But, I mean, you go down the line, and yes, Khalil Shakir is an exciting piece. Yes, Dalton Kincaid was exciting in his rookie year, but it isn't like they've hit on a guy who's a game changer. They haven't, maybe Kincaid is their version of Travis Kelce, and because he's a tight end, you don't have to pay him wide receiver money. Maybe Shakir does become an elite wide receiver, but right now they don't have that guy, although you could argue the Chiefs don't have that guy in the wide receiver room either, and they just won a 2nd straight Super Bowl.
I got not a special guest. He's part of the new Riptide Media Network that we have here, Angel Martinez, and he is part of Martinez and Company. He has his own show and everything else, but he's been hanging out with me a couple of times in the morning. He wants to ask you a question, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's also going to be the new Spanish play-by-play voice for the Orlando Predators.
Oh, love that.
Yeah. All right. Yes, Angel.
Thank you, Mia. First of all, huge fan. I love when you're on with Pete in the morning. So it's a huge opportunity for me to even ask you a question. But thank you for what you do for all the fans. But taking you away from Jacksonville for a second, going up to Pittsburgh, because now Pittsburgh with Russell Wilson and then you add Justin Fields, supposed alleged, they're saying there's not going to be a quarterback competition. But if you listen to Mike Tomlin, he's saying kind of, tongue in cheek that there is going to be a competition. I want to know your thoughts up there going on in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, great to speak with you. Thanks for having me. And, I would say that that's Mike Tomlin's MO about every position. I would argue that he told Ben Roethlisberger the same thing when he brought in Byron Leftwich to be his backup. He probably told Ben once upon a time, you're competing for your spot with a guy who used to be a starting quarterback. And so that's, in my opinion, just how Mike Tomlin operates. I've never interacted with him one-on-one, but from afar, that's kind of my perception. I do think, clearly, knowing the short-term nature of Russell Wilson's contract, there's something to be said of, we know Justin Fields could be the long-term guy. So if he was to outperform Russell Wilson in camp, what must be done eventually should be done immediately. Follow that mantra and say, hey, if he's the better guy, we might as well roll with him instead. But I think, yeah, tongue-in-cheek perhaps, but I think that's just kind of, that's Mike Tomlin's MO.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't be surprised if Russell Wilson shows up to camp and Justin Fields outperforms him and grasps the offense quicker, then yeah, I could absolutely see a world in which Justin Fields suddenly is handed the keys to the kingdom in Pittsburgh.
Again, speaking with Mia O'Brien up north in Florida, about 1010 XL. Courtney Cronin, Chicago Bears apologist and former attorney, says Caleb Williams was inside Hallis Hall yesterday for his pre-draft visit with the Bears. Hey, I'm finally glad to see that happened, reportedly from Courtney, because there was talk that maybe he might spurn them and to pull one of those, kind of like what Deion Sanders was saying. I don't know if I want to play for this organization, or I don't know if I want to play for Matt Eberflus, but at least that's the start. I mean, I can't see how the Bears don't draft him, but there was a little bit of trepidation among some, mostly reporters, that maybe he would spurn the Chicago Bears, Mia. But apparently he went yesterday in Hallis Hall. What a day!
Right. So a couple things on this front. As I've mentioned to you, Pete, I'm actually very close with Caleb's camp here because he's obviously working out here in Jacksonville. His training staff is here. They have been. And obviously this is coming from his camp, but they have been extremely confident that the Chicago Bears will select him with the number 1 overall pick. I had a league source tell me earlier in the week that the Bears are still doing their due diligence, and I don't know if that's for real or if that's just coach speak in terms of we need to evaluate all the guys before we're all in on Caleb. But I will also tell you this, some inside baseball. Caleb Williams, much like myself, hates layovers, and it's a direct flight from Jacksonville to Chicago, so it doesn't surprise me in the least that he actually did get on the plane and went and visited Hallis Hall and the rest of the Chicago Bears.
Well, also what they get going on over there, there are also other people expected to visit the Bears. Alabama outside linebacker Dallas Turner. Yes, he was there on Wednesday. And wide receiver Rome Odunze, who I love, he's supposed to be there today. And the Bears, as everybody knows, owns the number 1 and number 9 picks in the first round of the draft. So I don't know. Does that mean it? I mean, I'm sure they're doing their due diligence. I know defensively they played better last year. I get it. But there's just something, I told you this before, me about Matt Eberflus. I got no faith in him running an offense. I just don't. And I fear for Caleb Williams. I don't want Caleb Williams to turn into Zach Wilson.
Yeah, I mean, I have no concerns about Matt Eberflus on the defensive side of the ball. I believe, and from league sources I've spoken with, I mean, he is a good defensive coach. Yes. Obviously, he took a ragtag bunch and made them a top 5 defense last year, and the addition of Montez Sweat was a big factor, but I think Eberflus is actually a very good, inherently good defensive coach. Now, as far as overseeing and serving as a co-architect with Ryan Poles of that offense, that's, of course, where the questions arise. And so that's where I spoke to somebody this week who said to me that they wouldn't be surprised if the Bears do dip back into the offensive line well at number 9 overall. Now, my friends who report on the Chicago Bears will tell you that they need that number 1 wide receiver. If Rome Odunze, Malik Neighbors, Marvin Harrison Jr. is there, you have to take him at 9. There's also something to be said of who is going to be paired with Montez Sweat on the opposite side, knowing Yannick Ngakoue is no longer under contract in Chicago. And so that's where it's certainly a numbers game. It's who's on the board. But I thought what I was told this week was interesting, considering people in Chicago believe their offensive line has gone from a D or an F to a C plus B minus. And they think that with development, it will get to that B plus level that will protect Caleb Williams. But hearing from people that are within that organization that if one of the premier offensive tackles is there, we probably should take him, says to me that Matt Eberflus is admitting and checking his ego at the door that maybe he's not an offensive guru. Maybe as much as he handed the keys to another offensive coordinator this year, he still understands that he needs to build this team up and give Caleb Williams the best chance to succeed.
Yeah, I'm afraid that Jerry Jones might spontaneously combust. Ask me why.
I mean, I could give you about 18 different reasons why.
Well,
And I was working a career day. I was working a career day yesterday, Pete, and I had about like 5 young Cowboy fans, high school age, come up to us and express their concerns about the Dallas Cowboys not having a running back, not having a center, not having someone to go alongside CeeDee Lamb. Do they trust Dak? So there's about 18 reasons why he could combust at any moment.
Oh, this is much worse than that. Dallas Mayor Eric Johnson publicly supporting a return to Dallas for the Kansas City Chiefs after that sales tax in Jackson County, Missouri was shot down by voters. I think it was 52 to 48% earlier this week. So the failed sales tax, which if it had passed, would have helped pay for major renovations inside Arrowhead. But the Chiefs and Royals now have to look elsewhere for financial aid. And Johnson's lobbied for the Chiefs to return to Dallas, of course, where they began back in 1960 before they moved to Kansas City in 1963. I contend that Jerry Jones will bribe anybody and anyone. There is no way he wants competition for his Cowboys. But I would be hysterical if Kansas City ended up moving back to Dallas because of all this stuff.
Yeah, no, I think Jerry's going to finance any sort of Arrowhead restoration, reconstruction. He will finance it himself as an angel investor just to ensure that they don't come to Dallas. Or maybe he flips the Cowboys and says, oh, Patrick Mahomes got another 10 years in him. Maybe I bring him to Dallas and that's my real show. That would be the ultimate plot twist, though, I think, of the 21st century.
All right, Mia, one more, another question. Angel has one more question for you today.
So going back now to Jacksonville, Dougie P, which it was our only, and I'm an Eagles fan, but he was our only winning Super Bowl. It is our only Super Bowl winning coach. The reception he's had down there, I guess, has been kind of a mixed bag. Looking at the last 2 seasons, this year has he said, and obviously because I don't pick up the local Jacksonville station here, but has he set up anything any differently that what you can see or being in the press? Has he talked about any changes that he's looking to make here before the draft?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest one is the play calling. It's a question of whether he will say that out loud or if he will do it behind the scenes. What Doug stressed in his end of season press conference was that he knows the problems and he knows the answers and he is going to fix them he alone. The first of which was recognizing a lot of shortcomings on the defensive coaching staff. I'm talking coaches that weren't showing up on time to practice, coaches that weren't communicating with other position coaches on their side of the ball, and thus leaving miscommunication between the different position groups. And so he obviously addressed that and nipped that right in the butt from the jump as soon as the offseason began. The other question is the offensive play calling of Press Taylor, who, especially with Nick Holes leaving here from being the passing game coordinator to taking the offensive coordinator job in Tennessee, has essentially isolated Press Taylor to, for lack of a better term, having no friends, having no allies. And many people in the city of Jacksonville, both in the facility as well as just fans and those milling around town, basically labeling him as public enemy number 1. And so knowing Press Taylor's relationship with Doug, I don't believe Doug would ever throw him under the bus. And so that's why I don't expect him to ever come out and say that he has taken over the play calling. But at the NFL Combine, we asked Doug, and this was actually credit to Brent Martineau of CBS Sports down here in Jacksonville, he said, look, if you're a top 5 play caller in the National Football League, and that's what you were hired here to do, isn't it a detriment to your club that you're not calling the plays? And Doug said, that's a really interesting point. I never thought of it that way. And so it'll be curious to see if he truly does take that to heart and says, I will take the play calling back, or akin to 2022 in which Doug called the first half of plays, Press called the second. However, Doug constructed the offense. And I think when you look back at what the Jaguars were offensively in 2023, it was clunky because there were so many moving parts. It was such a detailed and intricate offense that new players coming into the organization didn't understand, and that's where a lot of the shortcomings arise from. So Doug is going to construct the offense, in my opinion, no question. Now it's just a matter of, will he also assume the play calling?
And they say the media is useless. Come on. Credit to your friend at CBS. Thank God for that. See, you might have changed the whole dynamic of the team, Mia. You are the best. Always a pleasure talking to you at 1010XL, your show, Helmets and Heels, noon to 2 every day?
Yes, sir.
Up on 1010XL, and you also catch you on MoBryanTV.com. Anything other on TV? Anything other stuff that you're doing that you want people to know about?
No, mostly just focusing on the new show. We've had a lot of exciting guests. We will have Jaguars inside linebacker Foye Oluwakin in studio today at 12:30. We also are starting our draft countdown, and so Ross Tucker will join us as he makes the quote-unquote mock draft pick for the Washington Commanders at 12:15. So a loaded lineup. We had Laura Rutledge on yesterday, and hoping to have even bigger guests in the days and weeks to come.
Man, football season can't get here fast enough for me. Not only because you're great at NFL, but you're also great at college football as well. I can't wait. So we'll talk to you next week. All the best, and you and the young ladies, great stuff on your new show. Love it.
Absolutely. Take care, boys. Appreciate it.
Take care.
Thank you.
All right, there she is, Mia O'Brien, joining us here on the Pete Sheppard Show. And she's going already. Okay, she's quick.
She is.
She's quick. All right, Angel. Gonna take a. As soon as I get my mouse ready to go here. Nothing worse than a mouse that's going wild. Okay, quick break, Angel. And when I come back, DeAndre Lou is going to be joining me as. And welcome back. It is the Pete Sheppard Show here on a Thursday, Riptide Media Network. How is everybody doing? My next guest coming up, DeAndre Lou, in just a second. But just in case you missed it last night, I thought I'd give a little refresher in the first 2 seconds of the Rangers.
Garden has seen its fair share of bouts on the canvas on the ice. No undercard tonight. Rempe and McDermott, the main event to open the hockey game.
Both sides. Lazar went the other side as well.
Jimmy Vesey and Lazar. Gaudreau has dropped them with Kevin Ball as well. Now it's 5-on-5. McDermott and Rempe exchanging blows. But everybody has gloves off at the Garden.
That was just, it went on and on and on. It was an unbelievable night that happened last night in the Rangers Devil game. Thanks to TNT for the call. Matt Rempe, Curtis McDermott. Better than any heavyweight fight I've seen in quite some time. I used to be a big boxing fan, but DeAndre Lou joins us. She covers the Tampa Bay Lightning, and she's an amazing reporter, Sirius XM NHL. You hear PHWA. DeAndre, good morning. THN.com/Tampa Bay. How you doing, DeAndre? Thanks for checking in on a Thursday. What do you think about that last night?
Hey, Pete, thanks for having me. That was hilarious and so awesome at the same time. And it's just I love this time where you're getting close to the playoffs and all the hate comes out, and there's just no sport like hockey. I just love it so much.
Yeah. Well, it was. I didn't see it live. I'm not mad at myself, but I was watching the Celtics and the. In Oklahoma City last night, and I missed I missed it. I was about 10 minutes late to the party. I had to go, and I saw it online. But that was old school. I was telling everybody today, back in 1980, I was 13 years old. I remember the Bruins and the Minnesota North Stars went at it right out of the gate, and there were even more penalty minutes and more ejections back then than there were last night, believe it or not. But that was old school. That was brewing from March 11th. You know the story. I don't have to go over it again. But that was something to see. And I know. Then you got the others out there, DeAndre, going, it's not good for the game. And you know what? Once in a while, there's nothing wrong with that. I got no problem with it.
I thought that was classic. There were some videos on social media that fans took that I saw that actually had better angles than the TV cameras. If you look at one, I don't remember whose video it was, but you could see two guys up against the board on the ground. They were on the ice. The TV cameras weren't even picking up what was going on over there. So I know there were, 5 fights going on at once, which is just, I don't know. It was awesome.
It was right on the slap. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Slapshot back in the day. But there was about a minor league hockey team, and they were always fighting like that. They know what the most amazing thing was is that Shesterkin and Kokkonen didn't brawl. Disappointing.
Yeah, I know. The coaches were going at it, though. Coaches were going on it.
Yeah, they absolutely were. All right, DeAndre. So let's get into last night. 3 unanswered goals by the Lightning, and saw some of this, a lot of this game too. And that was a very nice win for Tampa Bay on the road, a hostile environment. Even though Austin Matthews scored number 63, but Vasilevsky was outstanding last night.
Yeah, no, huge win for the Lightning, especially. They had that loss against the Red Wings, which, granted, I think they were 8-1 yeah, I think they were 8-1, and that was it. They had like a nine game point streak, and obviously that was going to snap eventually. But I will say the games are all starting to blend together at this point in the season. I couldn't remember what their record was, but yeah, they had that loss to Detroit. I think the biggest thing is they won on the road. They beat Toronto. Those teams absolutely despise each other. There's a pretty brutal fight against Chanot and Reeves last night, which was made me a little queasy. I'm not going to lie, but I think the rivalry with Toronto has just gotten so intense, and the fact that they could go into their arena and beat them 4-1 in a really pivotal time. Toronto could have clinched a playoff spot last night, and they delayed it for them. So I think that says a lot. And yeah, it was an interesting game because in the first period, it seemed like Toronto was getting away with so many calls and just some nasty hits. And, I was kind of trying to figure out which direction this game was going to go, but it all kind of worked out at the end. And the Lightning made a huge push in the second period, and you can see how it turned out. So good for them.
Yeah, how about Nikita Kucherov? Ended tied with Nathan McKinnon for the Avalanche. I think they both had 127 points. All he does is put up 3 assists last night, and then Hagel sets up a couple of goals as well. That was outstanding last night, those two.
Yeah, no, and Hagel's so feisty, and he's such a great addition to this team. But yeah, Kucherov is, again, like I just put it in my article that I put out this morning, but he's factored into 50% of their scoring this season, and that's just insane to me. It just speaks to the player that he is, and also just what he means to this team. And I know that they gave him media availability last night, which is hilarious to me because he's a man of very few words, and they let him have some availability in Toronto. I'm sure that was quite interesting. I wasn't there, but all he cares about is winning and bringing his team into the playoffs. He doesn't I know he pays attention to this stuff, but it's not like something that he talks about. He just really wants to win. But again, when they lost in the first round last year to Toronto, he was on the ice a week later, and he's been practicing ever since. So this really doesn't surprise me. He's such a driven guy. He's just self-motivated, and they're lucky to have him for sure.
DeAndre, Joey B has an interesting question for you on Facebook, if you don't mind. On the show, it says, DeAndre, is the East more wide open than the West in NHL playoffs? West, Avalanche, East, Avalanche, Panthers, final. But first, before you answer, the Panthers have been sucking lately. 2-7.
Yeah.
That was a horrible loss the other night in Montreal. But yeah. So what do you think? East more wide open than the West?
Ooh, I've been checking the. I don't even know. The East is tough. If you look at there's 4 teams that are just within a couple points of each other. I think the Panthers are. I had this weird intuition about the Panthers. I think it was the beginning of March. And I was telling a few people, I was like, I'm not ready to put this out publicly, but I just have this weird feeling because you know how it is, and you covered hockey for a long time, but you don't want to be the team that has no adversity the entire season. You don't want to be up top and the Bruins saw it last year, but you don't want to be that team. You want to get hot at the right time.
I don't remember. I black it out.
I know that you forgot about that, but I just felt like Florida was just riding that high for so long, and kind of stayed the same. And I think the thing with Florida too is they take a lot of penalties and they have no problem doing it. But when you're playing a team that's good on the power play, that does not work out well for you, and they haven't really adjusted it. So I'm interested to see what happens with Florida. We were thinking that the Lightning would be facing them in the first round, but now it's looking like it's going to be Boston. So I don't know. I don't know if I would say it's more wide open. The East is pretty tough to me, and you see the Islanders and just random Pittsburgh, random teams coming up there. It's just so close, and I'm kind of surprised the Flyers are still in the picture, but that's just me,
Yeah, there's Tortorella, though. He had some interesting words the other day. I think it was, I hope they make it. I think it's best. I think it's good for hockey if somehow the Flyers sneak in. I'd love for them to play the Bruins in the first round.
I'm sure you would love for them to play the Bruins in the first round, but it's looking like it's going to be the Lightning. So
I don't want to play the Lightning.
I know.
I'll tell you the team I don't
know.
want to play is the Carolina Hurricanes. That's the team that scares Carolina scares the bejesus out of me, like the Miami Heat scare me for the Celtics. I don't care about Milwaukee 76ers or any of that stuff. I care about the Miami Heat. And the Carolina Hurricanes, whoever they play, are going to be a tough matchup for anybody. They've won their last two. They're 8-1-1, one of the hottest teams in the NHL. That is going to be a tough draw, whoever gets them, because they play like New Jersey did back in the 90s, a little bit, early 2000s, and with a little more flair. That's how I like to describe them.
Yeah. The only thing that I would say, like with Carolina, is they don't perform well in the playoffs, and that is like the only ounce of hope that you could have if you're playing Carolina. It's like historically, they just, and last year was like the perfect example. They just don't perform well, and some teams can kind of crumble when you get into that playoff atmosphere. And obviously, it's a marathon, and I feel like the Lightning have kind of mastered that whole process of what you need mentally, because there's just such a huge mental component. And I'll be interested to see if Carolina can make the push this year. Obviously, they have a really talented team, but there is that huge mental piece to the playoffs. And the Panthers are another one that I'm watching. I feel like the East is brutal. To go back to that question, and the Rangers, they're another one where maybe they don't really push through the playoffs very well, but look at them this year, new coach, great team. They got some spice and they like to fight, and I guess we're going to see how it plays out.
Absolutely. Deandra, because we're on Riptide Media Network now, and my good friend, he has a show of his own on the network, Angel Martinez, he has a question for you as well. He joins me from time to time in the morning, has his own show. So there's Angel.
Hey, Deandra, thank you for joining the show. And off topic here, off and on topic, but moving here to the Tampa area and being spoiled for the first year I moved down here, the back-to-back Stanley Cup championships on the river. And I don't think I wish I could paint the most perfect picture for everyone. The celebration and how much everybody partied. But not only that, when the players go, and even I'm pretty sure you've been over to Hat Tricks Tavern. It's funny because all these players go to Hat Tricks, and I mean, no one walks up to them. No one asks for an autograph. Best food, by the way, and a great atmosphere. But it's playoff time, and I'm itching for it. Love my Flyers, but I'm itching for the Lightning to get in, because Thunder Alley, and now with the new hotel with the rooftop pool that's up there, I would love a drone shot where people see Thunder Alley, the hotel pool bar for the most part, and then everyone just in celebration mode, because when you see that sea of blue that goes up the steps when Thunderbug comes out, it is just a beast of an atmosphere. So that's my thing, DeAndre. I'm dying to see for Lightning to be back in it again. Not only that, but obviously if they get the rematch with Toronto, take down Toronto.
And in case you didn't know, Deandra, Angel is in Tampa.
No, I picked up on that. No, I try to explain it to people like in the league and some of my colleagues and stuff, and I guess they just don't understand. But it is truly, I don't care about original six teams. Like, Tampa has created this culture, this hockey town, and it is truly the best. I actually took a picture. I did a radio show in Thunder Alley on Saturday when they played the Islanders, and I took a picture. It was literally palm trees, beautiful blue skies, and then just a sea of people in Thunder Alley. But yeah, like you said, I mean, when the playoffs come around every year, and obviously we're very spoiled here, but people take off work, like everyone works from home, everyone's going to playoff games, they're all at the bars, and it's just a whole thing. And then God forbid we get another boat parade. I can't even imagine, because the last one it rained and poured. There was a huge storm that came through, and
that's right.
It was still crazy. It was crazy, but some nice weather would be a whole different ballgame. And yeah, Hat Tricks is I go to Hat Tricks all the time, and the players everyone's really respectful, and nobody really bothers the players, although I know that they love them very much, but everyone's really respectful here. And it's just kind of it's a culture that started with the organization, and I think just being in the locker room, almost every day. I think that it kind of started with Coop, and then the fans are a reflection of the organization, and the city, and the players are so involved in this community that it's just kind of like one big family, honestly. And people who aren't here hate on it all day long, but until you experience it, you don't know, you know?
No, I'm with you about hat tricks. I've been there a couple of times. The last time I had to get a buddy of mine, my buddy Jeff Zito works in radio up there to get me in. The line was like around the block because I had kind of gotten there right as the Lightning were about an hour and a half before face-off, and there was other stuff going on. But that place is a blast. That is my kind of place. That place is a lot of fun. No question about it.
And great food, too.
Yeah,
they have
do.
really good food.
Rick says, being from the Northeast, I think the Lightning have the best following in the Tampa Bay sports market. Well, yeah, I mean, no one's going to Tropicana Field except if you're out of town. Play the Yankees, Red Sox, or Cubs fans. Other than that, no, it's completely different. But I just love the fact, DeAndre, that hockey is so big here in the state of Florida. It's huge. And over here where I am in the Fort Myers-Estero area, we have the two-time defending ECHL Calder Cup, Kelly Cup champions and the Florida Everblades down here. And I talk to people in the organization there all the time. And of course, they're affiliated with the Florida Panthers now. But nevertheless, hockey is huge now in Florida. And I was talking to Chris Palin yesterday, the executive vice president of marketing. He says the Florida Gators, which I didn't know had a club team. I know FGCU does, but the Florida Gators have a club team, and they're building a rank. It's looking like they may make the jump to D1. Wouldn't that be unbelievable?
Wow, that would be incredible. Yeah, I was actually just having this conversation with Phil Esposito, and he was talking about how his dream is, like his absolute dream is to just have, you know, a first round pick born and raised in the Tampa Bay area. And, you know, driving through Tampa now, I see kids playing street hockey and they're all wearing like Stamkos shirts and, you know, Lightning gear, and they're all just pretending to be like Stamkos. And it's just really cool to see the game grow. And obviously it's been big in Tampa for a while, but we're seeing it from other areas and people are traveling to go to Lightning games. And I think, you know, I can say whatever I want about the Panthers, but obviously them making to the, you know, Stanley Cup final last year was huge for the state, and they've kind of built a fan base as well. So I do think the Lightning are kind of the model for that. It would be so cool to think about like the SEC having a Division I hockey team would be awesome. And I know Phil is actively working on just growing the game from, you know, for kids and like developing it and getting it into neighborhoods where you typically wouldn't see hockey, because that ultimately, like that grassroots effort to build the game out is going to be so cool for Tampa going forward.
DeAndre, you are the best. So again, we can check you out, obviously, on SiriusXM NHL. You're the reporter for the Tampa Bay Lightning, THN.com/Tampa Bay. You also have your weekly TV show, correct?
Yeah, that's on
Pulse Breakaway, right?
10 Tampa Bay. Yep, we do a weekly breakdown of just the games that week and kind of what they have going forward. It's a little bit of like analysis, predictions, some fun segments that we do. So yeah, that's on weekly, and it airs every Saturday morning at 10:30.
You are the best. Let's talk again next week. Continued success, and I will get up there someday because I owe you a big time dinner for doing all of this. So
maybe if Pete, you know, if Boston and Tampa face each other in the first round, maybe that's when you make the journey over to Tampa.
No, I'm definitely coming for one of the games this year. There's no doubt about it. Thanks so much, DeAndre, and continued success. And we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, guys. Talk soon.
All righty. There she is, DeAndre Liu, joining me, as she does weekly. Angel Martinez. Yeah, she's great. Joey B says, great NHL segment right there, fellas. Well done. Thanks, Joey. Yeah. I mean, I got to talk hockey. Absolutely. I love the sport, and we talk everything here. But I only have guests on who I think are insightful, who provide thoughtful discourse, but don't take themselves too seriously and are funny. And Mia and Deandra, you know, I love it when the ladies come on in the 9 to 10 hour. It's great. It's fantastic. Two of the best in the business. And trust me, you'll be seeing both of them more on national TV as things progress. There's no doubt about it. They're both phenomenal at what they do.
I'm surprised the NFL Network, you know, listen, why isn't Mia there? She should be a part of it, I think. Even on Good Morning Football, I think she would bring a much bigger element to that show in the morning.
And then, but it's unfortunate the NFL Network just fired Melissa Stark, and they just let Andrew Siciliano and two other guys got let go today. Yeah. So, you know, networks do that, Angel, and then they'll hire somebody, and you scratch your head and go, well, why is that person better than the 3 you just fired? I don't know. A lot of it has to do with money. Who's going to take less money? All that stuff. I'm trying to get an update on the UConn basketball team. They had a hard time getting to, I'm going to say Louisville, Phoenix. And they finally got there at 3 a.m. local time after a mechanical delay, not to mention the bad weather, but they had a massive mechanical delay. And but they did make it. They did make it. Now they're trying to make sure that they push back the practice schedule and everything else because obviously the players are all. It's a messed up situation. It's supposed to have media day today, so we'll hear from tomorrow. We'll have a bunch of previews sound, and I know Robbie Lestrella still distraught. FAU had 4 players into the transfer portal, so Rosado, Boyd, Davis, Golden, all done. Maybe a couple of them headed to Michigan. And Robbie's headed to Michigan too, right? I think he's headed to Ann Arbor. He's going to be covering the Wolverines, everything. He's going to be the new Brian Windhorst covering Dusty May. He's going to stalk him all day. He's going to have to get a restraining order from Dusty.
Right. Hey,
what happened for him?
Out there in Vegas, he was hustling like crazy. So, good job by AJ and Robbie as well. But, that's going to be a lot of fun for him to go up there in Michigan. So, it'll be we'll have to start going through his agent and his manager, which I'm pretty sure will be AJ, to just get a minute with him.
Yeah. And also, for my beloved Providence College Friars, Devin Carter, one of the best players in the country, definitely the best offensive rebounding guard in the country. He has decided to forego his senior year at Providence, as I thought, and most people did, and he will enter the NBA draft. And whoever gets him is going to get a hell of a player. I mean, I love to see guards. He's got that Rondo-esque quality about him as far as offensive rebounding, which you could say what you want about Rondo, no matter where he played, and quirky as he was. He could be the best player on the floor at times. At least he was for the Celtics at time and some others, but he was always like a mini Dennis Rodman under the boards offensively. He was amazing. Amazing on the boards you get. And Devin Carter's going to be doing the same thing in the NBA too. But Joe says, Danny Hurley going to use the plane and flight issues to his advantage to create a new narrative. UConn versus the world. UConn versus the skies. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. What other texts have I not read today? And thanks everybody for chiming in. Joey says, great to see Pete and Angel together early here in Colorado. Still tuning in. Great. Colorado, where is the only day of the year that they're getting less snow than in northern New England, where they're getting blitzed.
Yeah.
They're absolutely getting blitzed today. So anyway, Angel, God, so what's you got any special shows coming up tonight on the network, on the Riptide Media Network? Anything coming up?
Yep. So we have this evening on a special Martinez and Company, which will be Ryan Neff will be the host. He is going to be talking to Jill Jones, an American singer-songwriter who performed with, was the backup for Tina Marie and for Prince. She has a new single out. So they'll be talking at 8 o'clock this evening. Ryan, a little nervous, but he'll be fine. As I told him, I'll be in the background producing, so he'll be just fine. So, that should be fun tonight. So we'll get into her new single. We'll also talk about her old hits that she used to do before. So it should be a great time. That starts at 8 p.m. and you guys can watch it on broadstsouth.com, over on Facebook and YouTube as well. So that should be a good night tonight.
Angel, thanks so much again for hanging out. That's going to close out the Pete Sheppard Show for Thursday. I can't believe tomorrow's Friday already. Lots of great thing happening with Angel, obviously, and myself, and Riptide Media Network. And we're broadcasting live here. I am Monday through Friday at the Naples Wealth Planning Studio. Thanks, everybody who watched on all the video platforms today for Riptide Media Network, including the Facebook page, Broad Street South, YouTube pages, me at Twitter at pshep326. Man, it's outstanding. We're going to do some unbelievable things here, Angel, and you're going to be a big part of it, obviously. Thanks so much, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. Is that cool?
That's cool.